Manager Yu was stunned at first, then he said with a gloomy face, "I'm not the one that the giant ice wristband hates. What's the use of me going out? Altar Master, don't talk nonsense with her. I'll get someone to throw her out now." Yun Chujio said calmly, "Altar Master, the giant ice wristband has already expressed to me clearly that the person it hates is Manager Yu. If you don't believe me, I can prove it to you now." Although Altar Master Deng did not believe what Yun Chujio said, he thought of something and said, "Oh? Then prove it." Seeing that Altar Master Deng agreed so readily, Yun Chujio had a better idea of what to do next. She had noticed from some details that there was some animosity between Altar Master Deng and Manager Yu. Although it was not obvious, it could be seen from some of the eyes and subtle expressions. Manager Yu's expression was a little ugly, but he firmly believed that the person giant ice wristband hated was Yun Chujio, so he only snorted coldly and did not say anything. The other managers and some guards all stared at Yun Chujio curiously. They wanted to see how ugly Jio would prove it. Yun Chujio took a few steps forward, pointed at Manager Yu and shouted at giant ice wristband, "Little Pulpo, I have already convinced Altar Master. As long as you are willing to leave, he will hand over the culprit to you to deal with. Let me ask you, is the person you hate him? If it is, then erect one of your arms." Rho Alpha Pi D Alpha S Nu Omicron V Epsilon L Maviri 1 cried out in surprise. Manager Yu's face instantly turned pale. He said in a flustered and exasperated manner, "Impossible. It must be a coincidence." "Yes, it's a coincidence." Yun Chujio glanced at him and shouted at the giant ice wristband, "Little 8-clawed, he's acting like a scoundrel, saying that it's just a coincidence that you've erected one of your limbs. You've erected all 8 limbs for him to see. I think you should take a look at Snavel." The giant ice wristband immediately erected 8 limbs and let out an angry roar. This time, everyone was even more convinced of Yun Chujio's words. It seemed that the person that the giant ice wristband hated was indeed Manager Yu. However, why did it hate Manager Yu so much? At this moment, Manager Cheng of the Clearwater Workshop slapped his thigh and said, "I remember now. During the Beast Tide 3 months ago, Manager Yu caught quite a number of giant ice wristband as food and wine. Could it be that this giant ice wristband is taking revenge for them?" As soon as Manager Cheng said this, Manager Huang, who had traveled through the mud workshop, immediately echoed, "What Manager Cheng said makes sense. At that time, I even advised him that the Beast Tide had already started to retreat and there was really no need to kill them all. However, he refused to listen and sent people to kill many red-headed ice wristbands." Nonsense. That red-headed ice wristband and giant ice wristband are not of the same race at all. How could they avenge them? Manager Yu was so angry that he was trembling. These two people usually did not have a good relationship with him. Now they were throwing stones at him when he was down. It was really detestable. Yun Chujio did not expect that there would be a god to help her. She immediately said, "Even if they are not of the same race, they are still relatives. If your grandmother's family was exterminated by someone, wouldn't you be angry?" Manager Cheng could not help but burst into laughter when he heard Yun Chujio's interesting words. Manager Yu was flustered and exasperated. He raised his hand and was about to slap Yun Chujio to death, but he did not expect that his feet were unstable. In addition to using too much strength, he fell to the ground like a dog gnawing on mud. At this time, Yun Chujio had already hidden beside Altar Master Deng and said, "Altar Master, there is a limit to the patience of that giant ice wristband. It is better to quickly throw Manager Yu out." Manager Yu got up from the ground in a sorry state and said with a ferocious expression, "Manager Yu, don't listen to her nonsense. She must have played some tricks to make that giant ice wristband listen to her." Yun Chujio looked at him as if she was looking at an idiot. "Manager Yu, even if you are afraid of death, you should at least make up a decent reason. Giant ice wristband will listen to me? I'm just a weakling, how can I make it listen to me? If I had that ability, I would have made these sea beasts retreat long ago." Altar Master Deng and the others also felt that Manager Yu's words were too ridiculous. Although this Chojio was sharp-tongued, how could she have the means to control the giant ice wristband? Manager Yu wished he could strangle Yun Chujio to death. He gnashed his teeth and said, "Altar Master, no matter what, you can't be bewitched by her rumors. Sea beasts are greedy by nature. Even if the giant ice wristband eats me, I want retreat." Yun Chujio immediately laughed sarcastically. "Manager Yu, you didn't say that before. Didn't you say that as long as the giant ice wristband eats me, you can calm down your anger and leave this place? Why did you change your story when it came to you? Could it be that you're afraid of death so you lied against your conscience?" Rho Alpha Pi D Alpha S Nu Omicron V Epsilon Elm giant ice wristband was getting impatient. He slapped the protective shield again. Altar Master, look, little Polpo is getting impatient. Hurry up and throw Manager Yu out. Yun Chujio urged. Altar Master Deng's eyes flashed and he sighed. Manager Yu, the situation is forcing you. Go out and take a look. Someone send Manager Yu out. Manager Yu was so angry that his eyes were about to crack. Deng Defa, how dare you? I am the nephew of City Lord Yu. If I die, City Lord Yu will not let you go. Yun Chujio pursed her lips. This Manager Yu was really brainless. If he had not said that, it would have been fine. But now that he said that, Altar Master Deng was even more determined to kill him. After all, there was no evidence to prove his death. I think you should take a look at Snavel. Sure enough, Altar Master Deng said with a gloomy face, Manager Yu, you sacrificed yourself to save the people of Ascending Heaven Dock. I will naturally report the truth to the higher-ups. You don't have to bother. Do it. Manager Yu naturally wouldn't sit still and wait for his death. He suddenly attacked Altar Master Deng. However, how could he be a match for Altar Master Deng? Moreover, the few managers and guards beside him wouldn't just stand by and watch. In the blink of an eye, they took down Manager Yu, restrained his spiritual power, and threw him outside of Ascending Heaven Dock. Giant Ice Wristband used one of its limbs to wrap up Manager Yu and threw him to the ground with a bang. In a short while he was smashed into meat paste. Only then did Giant Ice Wristband feel that the anger in its heart had dissipated a little. When it was about to attack the protective shield again, it remembered that Yun Chujio had said that the people from Heaven's Dock still had a backup plan. It hesitated a little. After thinking for a while, it decided to leave. Forget it. The culprit was already dead anyway. There was no need to take the risk. It was better to leave as soon as possible. Altar Master Deng and the others saw that Giant Ice Wristband had really retreated. They immediately believed Yun Chujio's words. However, how did she know that the person Giant Ice Wristband hated was Manager Yu? It's like this. I heard that the beast tide in the past was not so fierce, and the Giant Ice Wristband was desperately attacking the protective shield. I felt that there might be a hidden reason behind this. Therefore, I probed and asked a few questions. After a few guesses, I also guessed correctly, Yun Chujio explained. Although Altar Master Deng felt that it seemed to make sense, he also felt that it was somewhat inconceivable. However, he did not have time to think about it, so he let her go back and continue to participate in the defense. The moment the Giant Ice Wristband was withdrawn, the moon-sealed sea beasts felt that something was wrong, so they retreated one after another. At midnight, following the receding tide of the sea, the low-level sea beasts also retreated. Ascending Heaven Dock had finally overcome the crisis. For a moment, there was thunderous cheers, especially for the new examinees, who were crying tears of joy. They almost became scapegoats. If it were not for Chojio's method to delay the Giant Ice Wristband, they would have died a long time ago. Therefore they were more grateful to Yun Chujio. Even the other candidates were more or less grateful to Yun Chujio. After all, if she had not guessed that the person the Giant Ice Wristband hated was Manager Yu, they would not have been able to escape the fate of being sacrificed in the end. Of course, there were some who were happy and some who were sad. On one hand, Chen-Lu was happy that she had survived the disaster, but on the other hand she was very uneasy. Manager Yu's death couldn't have been helped by Chojio, and she had offended Chojio previously. The more Chen-Lu thought about it, the more afraid she became. In the end she made up her mind. Rather than being afraid, it was better to strike first and find an opportunity to get rid of her in 2 days. In any case, she was only at the peak of the 6th level of Spirit Extinguisher, so it was not difficult to kill her. After this battle, the Heavenly Arrival Dock was in a mess. Therefore, the next day Yun Chujio and the others did not go to pick ice and other work. Instead, they repaired and cleaned the Heavenly Arrival Dock. Yun Chujio stole a glance at Manager Bai. There was no expression on his face. Although he hid it well, Yun Chujio still felt a trace of killing intent. Yun Chujio's heart trembled. Why did this Manager Bai want to kill her? Was it related to Manager Yu's death? Could it be that he was on the same side as Manager Yu? Or could it be that this Manager Bai was someone the Divine Devil Hall had bribed? What had she revealed yesterday that he had found out? I think you should take a look at Snavel. However, regardless of the reason he wanted to kill her? Although her cultivation level was low now and she was alone, so what? At least she still had a brain. She bowed and said, Manager Bai, what can I do for you? Manager Bai said coldly, you were in the limelight last night. I didn't know that I had a talent like you under me. It's all thanks to Manager Bai. Chojio doesn't dare to claim credit. Yun Chujio said humbly. Manager Bai sneered, you are indeed sharp-tongued. Let me ask you, what's your real name? Yun Chujio's heart sank. It seemed that this manager Bai was most likely someone arranged by the Divine Devil Hall. Otherwise he would not have asked for her real name. Fortunately, she had made preparations in advance. Her eyes widened in disbelief. Manager Bai, in the Ascending Heaven dock, those of us who are to be assessed only have numbers. We are strictly prohibited from mentioning our names. Are you asking me this to test me? Don't worry, I have memorized those rules thoroughly. I will definitely not violate the rules. Manager Bai, he took a deep breath. Very good, I really want to test whether you are abiding by the rules. There's nothing else. You can go back now. Yes. Yun Chujio bowed and left respectfully. Manager Bai frowned. Was this Chojio the person the Divine Devil Hall was talking about? This Chojio had the same cultivation level as Yun Chujio, who the Divine Devil Hall was looking for. Moreover, she had ascended from the heavy cloud continent. Most importantly, her performance last night was quite similar to what the Divine Devil Hall had described. She was eloquent and cunning. Manager Bai felt that it didn't look like it. After all, Chojio's ascending talisman number was different from the one given by the Divine Devil Hall. His spirit root was also different and his appearance was also different. Could it be just a coincidence? Manager Bai thought for a moment, and a cold smile appeared on his face. Regardless of whether this Chojio was the person the Divine Devil Hall was looking for, he just had to find a crime and die. Moreover, in order to avoid the crime, Altar Master Deng would definitely push the blame of Manager Yu's death onto Chojio. At that time he might not even need to make a move, and this Chojio would die without a burial place. Yun Chujio walked out of the house and the corners of her mouth curled up slightly. Fighting with the heavens and the earth was not as good as fighting with people. It was simply a lot of fun. She wanted to see how Manager Bai would dig a hole for her. The next day, after the renovation of the Ascending Heaven dock was completed, everything went as usual. On this day, when picking ice, Chen Lu deliberately chose a place far away from the others to pick ice. Although Ding Er didn't understand, he didn't dare to question it. He obediently followed Chen Lu to pick ice. Chen Lu lowered her voice and said coldly, "You've gotten a lot of benefits from Chojio recently, right?" Ding Er shivered. "Boss, I am just too hungry." "Alright, you don't have to say anymore. I naturally know what's going on. This Chojio is full of tricks. Sooner or later, she will harm me, so we have to think of a way to kill her," Chen Lu said coldly. Ding Er shivered and looked at Chen Lu in disbelief. She didn't want to kill Yun Chujio. Firstly, Yun Chujio had been giving her a lot of food recently. In her eyes, Yun Chujio was a moving canteen. Secondly, Yun Chujio's previous actions during the Beast Tide had made her quite fearful. She felt that offending her wouldn't end well. "I think you should take a look at Snavel. Just like that manager Yu." He had wanted to make Yun Chujio the scapegoat, but in the end he had lost his life. Chen Lu saw that Ding Er didn't say anything and said with an unsightly expression, "What? Are you planning to go against me?" Although Ding Er was quite strong, he was not Chen Liu's match. He said, "Boss, that's not what I meant. Although those guards turn a blind eye to small fights, if someone really dies, I'm afraid we won't be able to escape." "Humph. You pig brain. Of course I won't leave any evidence. There are 100 ways to kill her. Do you see that ventilation hole not far away? You can trick her into coming over later. I can kill her with a light push. When the time comes, we will insist that she accidentally fell into it. Who will hold us accountable?" Chen Lu laughed sinisterly. Ding Er couldn't help but shiver when he saw Chen Liu's sinisterly smile. There were a few ventilation holes scattered on the ancient solid ice. It was said that they were created by sea beasts to get some air. As long as they fell in, they would definitely die. "Boss, we really want to do this? Why don't you beat her up to vent your anger? Her cultivation is so low, how would she dare to kill you?" Ding Er advised. "Cut the crap. If you don't listen to me, I'll kill you first. With your pig brain, I can kill you with a single finger," Chen Lu said viciously. Ding Er was both afraid and annoyed. No matter who was scolded like this, he wouldn't feel comfortable. However, she didn't dare to resist, so she could only say, then do as boss says. "I'll listen to you." Chen Lu nodded with satisfaction. "The guards are more strict now. Wait until afternoon and find an opportunity to trick her to come over." Ding Er had been distracted the entire morning. Chen Lu thought to herself, what a useless fool. However, only such a fool would be useful because she did not have the brains to go against her. As time passed, more and more fast teams began to finish their work. Seeing that the guards were starting to relax, Chen Lu immediately said to Ding Er, "Go and trick Chojio to come over." Ding Er tried to persuade her, "Boss, why don't we just forget about it?" After all, Chen Lu interrupted her impatiently, Cut the crap. If you don't trick her, it'll push you inside. Ding-er didn't dare to say anything more, so he braced himself and went to find Yun Chujio. She managed to suppress the panic in her heart and walked to Yun Chujio. Chojio, boss wants you to go over. He has something important to tell you. Yun Chujio had been watching Chen Liu's every move. She had long noticed that there was something wrong between the two of them. However, she said calmly, I haven't completed my mission yet. Not free. Ding-er did not expect Yun Chujio to reject her so decisively. He wanted to give up, but when he thought of Chen Liu's threat, he softened his tone. Chojio, the boss really has something to talk to you about. You'd better come with me. Yun Chujio looked at Ding-er with an inexplicable expression. Really? Ding-er looked at Yun Chujio's deep eyes and had the urge to tell her everything. But when he thought of Chen Liu's threat, he could only grit his teeth and say, it's really something. Stop dawdling and come with me. Yun Chujio did not respond. Just when Ding-er thought that Yun Chujio would not agree, he heard her say lightly, since there's really something, then I'll go with you to take a look. Shen Wu grabbed her sleeve. That Chen Lu definitely doesn't have good intentions. Don't go over. Wei Ba did not say anything, but her expression was full of disapproval. I think you should take a look at this novel. Yun Chujio laughed lightly. You're thinking too much. I'll be back soon. Ding-er sighed in his heart. Go back soon? I'm afraid I won't be able to come back. Shen Wu and Wei Ba saw that Yun Chujio had made up her mind, so they could only instruct her to be more careful. Yun Chujio followed Ding-er to the ice where Chen Lu was. On the way, Ding-er hesitated for a while and said vaguely, there are many air holes on the ice. Be careful and don't fall in. This was the best way she could think of. She could trick Chojio and not let Chen Lu succeed. In this way, Chen Lu would have no reason to blame her, and Chojio would not lose her life. Yun Chujio turned her head to look at Ding-er, but she did not say anything. When Chen Lu saw Yun Chujio approaching, she squeezed out a smile. Sister Chojio, you're here. There was some misunderstanding between us a few days ago. Let's talk things out today so as not to ruin our sisterly relationship. Sister Chen Lu, you're too polite. It was all my fault before. Just don't blame me, sister, Yun Chujio said apologetically. Competing in acting skills? She was the essence of acting. Chen Lu said a few more pleasantries and then said, Sister Chojio, I still have a mission to complete. How about this? Let Ding-er pick ice here. Let's talk over there. The direction that Chen Lu was pointing at was exactly where the air vent was. Yun Chujio nodded. All right, let's go over. Ding-er shook his head in his heart. Wasn't this Chojio quite smart before? Why was she so stupid this time? He had already warned her, yet she still dared to follow Chen Lu there? Wasn't she courting death? Chapter 5484 Yun Chujio followed Chen Lu to the air hole. Chen Lu stopped and said a few words hypocritically. Then she pointed at the air hole and said, Sister Chojio, you haven't looked at this air hole carefully, have you? There is another world inside. It's very interesting. Yun Chujio pretended to be interested. Is that so? Then I have to take a good look and broaden my knowledge. But this air hole is said to be very dangerous. It won't fall in, right? You are too timid. As long as you are careful you won't fall in, Chen Lu quickly said. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes. Is that so? Then Sister Chen Lu, you go and take a look first. If there is no danger I will go and take a look. I don't want to lose my life out of curiosity. Chen Lu cursed in her heart, but in order to succeed in her plot, she had to take a few steps forward and walk to the ventilation hole. She smiled and said, Look, are you all right? As long as you're careful there's no help. Ding-er, who had been paying attention to the situation here, saw the entire process clearly. Chen Lu actually slipped and fell into the ventilation hole. How could this be? Didn't Chen Lu want to push Chojio in? Why did she fall in? Could it be that she was too nervous and slipped? For some reason Ding-er shivered. Could it really be an accident? At this moment Yun Chujio pulled her neck and shouted, Not good. Not good. Come and save her. Someone fell into the ventilation hole. Yun Chujio's shout attracted a few guards. As for those who were waiting for the test, they did not have the energy or the courage to come and watch the show. They only used the corner of their eyes to glance at the movement. When the guards rushed over, Chen Liu's voice had already disappeared from the air vent. It was dark inside and there was no sound at all. What happened? The leader of the guards asked. Sister Chen Lu wanted to explain some misunderstandings to me. After we talked things out, she insisted on going to take a look at the air vent. Who would have thought that she would accidentally fall in? It's really too scary. Yun Chujio said with a pale face. The leader frowned. She fell in by herself? Wasn't it you who pushed her? Yun Chujio immediately widened her eyes in disbelief. Sir, I'm not tired of living. How would I have the guts to kill Sister Qinlu? Besides, I've been standing here the whole time. I'm at least 30 to 40 feet away from the ventilation hole. Even if I wanted to harm her, I couldn't do it. Although this place is a little far from the freezing point, the surrounding ice pickers can also see this place. You can go and check if what I said is true. The leader immediately asked a few candidates who were closer to this place. Some said that they didn't notice, while others confirmed Yun Chujia's statement. She was indeed standing quite a distance away from the air hole. Qinlu fell into it. The leader asked Ding Er in detail. Ding Er naturally would not tell him that Qinlu wanted to frame Yun Chujio. He only said that Qinlu wanted to reconcile with Yun Chujio. In this way it was exactly as Yun Chujio said. After the leader investigated for a while, he said, although it seems that Qinliu's death has nothing to do with you, this matter still needs to be decided by Manager Bai. Come with us to see Manager Bai. Yun Chujio's eyes flashed and then she nodded obediently. The leader saw that Yun Chujio was very cooperative, so he did not restrain her spiritual power. He only brought 2 people to escort Yun Chujio back to the ascending heaven dock. As soon as the leader brought Yun Chujio into the heavenly dock, Yun Chujio was like a wild horse that had run loose. She went crazy. This guy shouted and rampaged, someone died. It was too scary. Sister Qinlu, you died so tragically. There was a man-eating monster on the ice, it scared me to death. The leader and the other 2 guards were stunned at first, then they quickly chased after Yun Chujio who had run far away. They all thought that Yun Chujio was too frightened, so she went crazy. The 3 of them despised her in their hearts. This Chujio was too timid. Wasn't it just one person who died? What was the big deal about that? As expected, she was a pig from a low-grade continent. She had no experience at all. Yun Chujio shouted as she rushed to the outside of Altar Master Deng's courtyard. There were many guards around the courtyard, so Yun Chujio naturally could not enter. This fellow blinked his eyes and howled, Altar Master Deng, the giant ice wristband is here again. Altar Master Deng was in the house counting the savings he had accumulated over the years. When he heard Yun Chujio's shout, he was so frightened that he trembled. What? The giant ice wristband is here again? Could it be that the sea beasts are rebelling again? Altar Master Deng rushed out of the house in a hurry. Just as he opened the courtyard door, Yun Chujio rushed in and shouted as she ran, the monster is here. The monster is here. When she passed by Altar Master Deng, she said in an extremely low voice, it's important. Altar Master Deng's eyes flashed. Although he did not think that a candidate who was about to be assessed would have any important matters to look for him, when he thought of Yun Chujio's performance during the Beast Tide, his eyes flashed and he said to the little leader who had caught up, you guys wait outside the courtyard for now. We'll take a look at her condition. The little leader and the other 2 naturally did not dare to disobey. They respectfully agreed and then waited outside the courtyard. I think you should take a look at Snavel. Si Omicron M Rho Alpha and D Alpha S Nu Omicron V Epsilon L. But now, not only was she crazy and noisy, she even risked her life to disturb Altar Master Deng. She was just waiting to be punished. She might not even be able to keep her life. She was really courting death. When Altar Master Deng entered the room, Yun Chujio had already returned to normal. She stood there respectfully and waited. Altar Master Deng snorted coldly. I'd like to hear what your so-called important matter is. Don't be so ignorant after you've made a small contribution. If you can't say Zi Wu Yin Mao today, you'll be severely punished. Yun Chujio didn't respond. Instead, she looked around carefully as if she was afraid that someone would eavesdrop. Altar Master Deng frowned. Could it be that this Chojio really had something important to do? If there's anything, just say it. No one else can interfere in my business. Yun Chujio let out a long breath and immediately said with tears streaming down her face, Altar Master, please save me. I can't live anymore. Altar Master Deng frowned again. Save you? What do you mean? Altar Master, today Qinlu from Group 9 sent someone to call me over. She said that she wanted to explain the previous misunderstanding to me. I didn't think much and agreed. Then, she brought me to the ventilation hole and said that she wanted me to see what a ventilation hole was. Although I was a little curious, I heard that the ventilation hole was very dangerous, so I didn't want to go over. Qinlu said that there was no danger and even deliberately went near the air vent to show me. Who would have thought that she actually slipped and fell into the air vent? After the incident, a guard immediately questioned the testimony of the surrounding people and said that this matter had nothing to do with me. However, according to the procedure, The small leader still needs to report this matter to Manager BI for a decision. Altar Master Deng's frown deepened and he asked, "You've said so much nonsense just to tell me that you're innocent." Chapter 5486. He was a spy from the Divine Devil Temple. Altar Master Deng's tone was a little impatient. Wasn't this Cho Jio taking herself too seriously? Why would she bother him with such a small matter? Moreover, she was even making a big fuss and pretending to be crazy. She was really audacious. Yin Chujio shivered. "Altar Master, do you think that I'm making a big fuss out of nothing? I originally thought that this was just an accident and that I was just unlucky to be involved in it. However, I thought of one thing and realized that this was a conspiracy to take my life." Altar Master Deng was stunned. "What do you mean?" "Qin Liu's character is vengeful. She would never rush to my side to express her goodwill. Even if she really wanted to express her goodwill, she shouldn't have deliberately lured me to the ventilation hole. I already said that the ventilation hole was dangerous, but she still eagerly demonstrated to me that there was no danger. After a while, I realized that she was probably trying to trick me to the ventilation hole, then she would push me in and kill me," Yun Chujio said with lingering fear. Altar Master Deng did not have any objections to Yun Chujio's guess, but did this kind of scheming really have to come to him? He said impatiently, "In that case, just tell Manager Bai the truth. He will naturally make the decision for you." Yun Chujio immediately revealed a horrified expression and her body trembled violently. "Manager Bai? He will not make the decision for me. He will definitely frame me as a murderer and then kill me." Altar Master Deng immediately frowned. "What do you mean?" Yun Chujio looked around again before she lowered her voice and said, "Altar Master, I have discovered a big secret of Manager Bai. I suspect that he was the one who sent Qinlu to kill me to silence me. However, the heavens have eyes. That Qinlu actually fell into the ventilation hole by herself." Altar Master Deng's gaze immediately turned cold. "A big secret of Manager Bai? What secret?" Yun Chujio lowered her voice again and said word by word, "He is a spy of the Divine Devil Hall." "What? What did you say? This kind of thing cannot be said casually. If you are lying, humph." Altar Master Deng exclaimed in disbelief. "Altar Master, even if I had 10 guts, I would not dare to tell such a big lie. I can guarantee with my life that Manager Bai is definitely colluding with the Divine Devil Hall," Yun Chujio said with certainty. "Tell me what exactly is going on." Altar Master Deng narrowed his eyes. If it was true, it would be a great merit. After all, the Divine Devil Hall had planted spies in the Ascending Heavens dock. Once they were discovered, it would definitely be a wrong thing to do. Maybe the higher-ups could take advantage of this matter to extort some benefits from the Divine Devil Hall. However, how did this Chojio find out? Yun Chujio took a deep breath. "The day after the beast tide, Manager Bai called me over. His expression was quite unfriendly. What made me even more fearful was that I saw the killing intent in his eyes. At that time, I was so scared that I almost fainted. Fortunately, he interrogated me for a few words before letting me leave. I felt as though I was about to be pardoned and hurriedly left the house. However, when I thought of Manager Bai's expression before, I felt as though I was in a daze. I felt that Manager Bai might have misunderstood something and wanted to go back and explain a little. However, I was afraid that I would backfire. After hesitating for a while, I turned around and went back. I saw Manager Bai holding a jade plate in his hand. Although he immediately put it away, I still saw the Higan flower pattern engraved on the jade plate." Altar Master Deng immediately asked with a gloomy expression, "Did you see it clearly?" Chapter 5487. Yun Chujio nodded her head firmly. "Although my cultivation is a bit useless, my eyesight has always been very good. Although it was just a glimpse, I still saw it clearly." Altar Master Deng asked suspiciously, "Since you saw it, why didn't Manager Bai kill you to silence you?" Yun Chujio said somewhat uncertainly, "He put it away very quickly, and I tried my best to show that I didn't find anything abnormal. I guess he was not sure whether I saw it or not. Also, at that time I was in the limelight during the beast tide. He might have been afraid that killing me would arouse your suspicion, so he didn't make a move. For the next few days I was trembling with fear, afraid that Manager Bai would silence me. However, everything was calm. I thought that this matter might be over. Who would have thought that today's incident would happen?" Altar Master Deng pondered for a moment, as if he was considering the authenticity of Yun Chujio's words. After a while he asked in a deep voice, "Since you have long discovered Manager Bai's flaw, why haven't you reported it to me? Are you planning to hide it and not report it?" Yun Chujio immediately said with trepidation, Altar Master, to be honest, I wanted to report it to you at that time, but Manager Bai must have planted spies by my side. I'm afraid that I will die before I see you. I've been looking for a suitable opportunity. I finally took advantage of Chen Liu's death to have the opportunity to see you. Please understand. Altar Master Deng knew very well that Yun Chujio did not report it because she did not want to get into trouble. Now, she had no choice but to tell him about this matter. However, this did not matter. As long as it was confirmed that Manager Bai was colluding with the Divine Devil Hall, it would be a great merit. After spending some savings, he could be transferred out of this Ascending Heaven dock. Previously, although he wanted to be transferred out of the Ascending Heavens dock, he was not in such a rush. However, after the beast tide a few days ago, he did not want to stay in this damn place anymore. This is just a one-sided statement. How can you prove that what you said is true? Dock Master, this is easy. You will hand me over to the 3 guards in a while. Manager Bai will definitely try to kill me indiscriminately. I will think of a way to anger him and make him reveal his fox tail. I will use the recording stone to record his crimes. You just need to seize the opportunity to go in and save me. Yun Chujio was not worried that Altar Master Deng would not be able to pay attention to the situation in the quenching workshop. He must have spies in the quenching workshop. Altar Master Deng nodded when he heard that. All right, we will do as you say. If this matter is true, I will not mistreat you. Thank you, Altar Master Deng. I only hope to keep my life. I don't expect any extra rewards from you, Yun Chujio said humbly. Altar Master Deng was very satisfied with Yun Chujio's tactfulness. Then he asked someone to take her out. Altar Master Deng's guard pushed Yun Chujio fiercely and then shouted sternly, Altar Master Deng, on account of your previous meritorious service, I won't pursue you this time. If you barge in again, he'll kill you without mercy. The 3 people from before curled their lips. This Chojio was really seeking death by playing tricks. The small leader sneered and mocked a few times before he brought Yun Chujio to the quenching workshop. After meeting Manager Bai, the small leader told him about the matter. However, he did not mention the matter of Yun Chujio breaking into Altar Master Deng's courtyard. The reason was very simple. After all, he did not have strict supervision, so it was better not to say anything. When Manager Bai heard the small leader's words, a glimmer of light flashed in his eyes. He was worried that he would not have the chance to kill this Chojio, but he did not expect the opportunity to come knocking on his door. Chapter 5488 was bought with money. Chojio, Chen Liu's death really has nothing to do with you? Manager Bai said coldly. Manager Bai is very clear. Sister Chen Lu slipped and fell on her own. It really has nothing to do with me. Yun Chujio said innocently. Humph? What nonsense. Your words can only fool the others. When the beast tide came, you hid among the crowd. It was Chen Lu who exposed you. You must have a grudge against her. Therefore, what happened was not an accident, but a carefully planned murder. Manager Bai shouted sternly. I'm innocent. Manager Bai, although I'm a little dissatisfied with Sister Chen Lu, I don't have the guts to kill her. Besides, I have witnesses. They can prove that I didn't do anything. Manager Bai sneered. They are at least 1,000 feet away from the place where the accident happened. How could they see it so clearly? Besides, Chen Lu has been in the sky for almost 8 months. How could she not know the dangers of the air vent? If you didn't trick her, how could she have gotten close to the air vent? Needless to say, you have committed an unpardonable crime by killing the other candidates. Men, take them away and kill them. Yun Chujio praised herself in her heart. She knew that Manager Bai would take the opportunity to kill her, so she went to find Altar Master Deng. Want to kill her? Let's see who dies in the end. At this time, 2 guards had already come up and wanted to drag Yun Chujio down to kill her. However, Yun Chujio suddenly stood up and said sternly, Manager Bai, let them go down. They'll tell you about what happened last time. Manager Bai thought that she wanted to admit her identity, so his eyes flashed. If he could confirm her identity, it would be better to take credit from the Divine Devil Hall. Therefore, he waved his hand and signaled the others to go out. After the others had left, before Manager Bai could say anything, Yun Chujio said with a mocking face, Manager Bai, are you planning to add to the crime without any excuses? Manager Bai sneered with a hint of pride. In this quenching workshop, it's easy for me to kill someone. You asked for it. Manager Bai, I really don't understand what benefits the Divine Devil Hall has given you. You actually took such a big risk to betray Ascending Heaven Dock and the Alliance of 10,000 Cities? Manager Bai was already certain of Yun Chujio's identity in his heart. Seeing her question, he was not too surprised. TSK, you're really smart. You actually guessed it. However, so what if you guessed it? You're dead for sure today. As long as you die. Yun Chujio was afraid that he would reveal his identity, so she interrupted him. As long as I die, your identity will not be exposed, right? I didn't expect that there would be a scum like you in ascending heaven, Doc. Qinlu wanted to kill me, was it because of you? Also, there were many abnormalities in the previous beast tide, it was also because of you in the Divine Devil Hall, right? Do you still want to kill Altar Master Deng and replace him? Manager Bis' secret thoughts were revealed by Yun Chujio, and he immediately became angry from embarrassment. Shut up, you bitch. How dare you talk nonsense when you are about to die? Pui? You want me to shut up and I'll shut up. Shameless. Altar Master Deng is 100 times stronger than you, and you're not even worthy to carry his shoes. And you still dare to dream of obtaining the position of the Altar Master through the hands of the Divine Devil Hall? What wishful thinking. Manager Bai gnashed his teeth in anger. What's so great about that old thing, Deng Defa? This Altar Master was only bought with money, and I can do it anytime I want. Chapter 5489 is really a good child. When Yun Chujio heard Manager Bis' words, she was very satisfied that he had already embarked on the road of no return. She gave Manager Bai a meaningful smile, and then she pulled her neck and shouted, "Help! Help! Manager Bai is going to kill me to silence me." Manager Bai had a faint ominous feeling in his heart, but then he thought about how he would not go back on his words in this quenching workshop. No one dared to come in, let alone save this ugly Jio. He sneered, "It's useless even if you scream. Speak your..." Before he could finish his words, the door was kicked open. Altar Master Deng walked in with a gloomy face. Manager Bai didn't know if Altar Master Deng had heard what he had said. A hint of panic flashed across his face. Then he stood up and said, "Altar Master, why are you here?" "Chojio killed Qinlu. I'm interrogating her now." Altar Master Deng sneered again and again. "Manager Bai, I've always treated you well. I didn't expect you to slander me behind my back like this. Did I buy this Altar Master?" Although Altar Master Deng only heard the last few words, he immediately exploded in anger. He did not hit others in the face and he did not expose other shortcomings. Although he, the Altar Master, was indeed bought. Manager Bai heaved a sigh of relief in his heart. It seemed that he had not heard what he had said earlier. This was easy to handle. At most, he would just have to spill some blood. "Manager Bai, I drank a little wine earlier, so I was spouting nonsense. Please treat it as if I was farting. This is the Dragon Beard Ice Ginseng that I accidentally obtained earlier. They'll treat it as an apology to you." Manager Bai took out a jade box as he spoke. The moment the jade box was opened, Yun Chujio, who was beside him, snatched the jade box and ate the Dragon Beard Ice Ginseng in no time. Hei Shinjio, who had regained control of her body, was fuming with anger. She wished that she could burn the Goei Batsao into ashes. However, the most important thing now was how to smooth things over. Otherwise, Altar Master Deng would definitely not let her off. In her haste, she came to her senses and held her stomach. Bean-sized beads of sweat rolled down from her forehead. She even spat out a mouthful of blood and said with difficulty, "Altar Master Deng, it is indeed poisonous." Altar Master Deng was about to fly into a rage because Yun Chujio had eaten the Dragon Beard Ice Ginseng. He did not expect that the Dragon Beard Ice Ginseng was actually poisonous. Yes, this damn Manager Bai wished that he could kill him and replace him. How could he give him the Dragon Beard Ice Ginseng? Fortunately, this Chojio was loyal to his master and was afraid that he would not believe it. He actually tested the poison with his own body. What a good child. However, it seemed that she would not be able to live. Yun Chujio said with difficulty, "Altar Master, take him down. His storage ring. There must be an antidote in it." Upon hearing that, Altar Master Deng did not give Manager Bai a chance to explain. He immediately slapped him. Manager Bi was still confused. He did not know whether Altar Master Deng knew that he had received benefits from the Divine Devil Hall. However, if he did not resist, he would be finished once he found the things in his storage ring. Therefore, he said while dodging, "Altar Master, what are you doing? That Dragon Beard Ice Ginseng is not poisonous at all. It's all Chojio's nonsense." Yun Chujio, who was dying at the side, shouted with difficulty, "Altar Master, he really is." This fellow fainted before he could say anything. When Altar Master Deng heard that, he immediately understood what Yun Chujio meant. It seemed that this Manager Bai was really from the Divine Devil Hall. Moreover, Chojio had already recorded the evidence. In that case, there was no need to be polite. Chapter 5490 Wishful Thinking. Manager Bai wanted to explain at first, but when he saw that Altar Master Deng was not going to let him go, and that his attacks were all killing moves, he immediately flew into a rage out of humiliation. It seemed that this Deng Defa had the intention to kill him. If it fell into his hands, it would definitely be a disaster. Moreover, if he were to find any clues, he would not be able to survive. He might as well escape from ascending heaven dock before the news spread and then think of a way. Thinking of this, he stopped dodging and started to fight back. Altar Master Deng saw that he was ruthless and immediately believed Yun Chujia's words. If he was not guilty, why did he resist? There must be something fishy. Thinking of Manager Bai saying that he spent money to buy the Altar Master, he wished he could slap Manager Bai to death. The two of them fought their way out of the room. Hei Xinjia's eyes revealed a slit as she sneakily watched the battle outside. She was not worried that Manager Bai would be able to escape, because Altar Master Deng must have made preparations before he came. Did Manager Bai want to escape? TSK wishful thinking. If Manager Bai was captured, her identity might be exposed under torture. Although her identity would be exposed sooner or later, it was better to delay for a period of time. Therefore it was best not to leave anyone alive. It was a pity that the curse of Xiao Hanyo was used on Qin Lu. Otherwise it could have helped Altar Master Deng to kill Manager Bai. Just as Yun Chujio was worried, the Gowei Batsao and her Dantian began to act cute. This guy was guilty, so he wanted to make up for it. Yun Chujia's heart moved and she gave a few instructions to the Gowei Batsao. If it were in the past, Yun Chujio would not have taken such a risk. Although the Gowei Batsao was small, it was hard to avoid being discovered because of its bright color. However, this time was different. Firstly, it was an urgent matter, and secondly, Manager Bai had planted a lot of purple warbler grass in his courtyard. It was the blooming season and there were a lot of purple petals on the ground. With the cover of these petals, the Gowei Batsao could completely muddle through. After listening to Yun Chujia's instructions, Gowei Batsao sneaked out of the house and used the cover of purple warbler grass to approach the place where the fight was taking place. At this time, many guards had joined the battle. Manager Bai was like a cornered beast. Even though he was badly injured, he still put up a desperate fight. Manager Bai gnashed his teeth and said, "Deng Defa, you are taking revenge on your own business. I will not let you get away with it today." Altar Master Deng looked at him contemptuously. At this moment, his victory was already in his grasp. He said to the guards, "Capture him alive." He had already planned it out. After capturing Manager Bai, he would interrogate him and give him a confession. Then he would hand him over to the higher-ups. This would be a great merit. Who would have thought that when he was distracted, Manager Bai would let out a miserable cry. Altar Master Deng focused his eyes and saw Manager Bai lying on the ground in a bloody mess. He did not need to look to know that he was definitely dead. Altar Master Deng shouted angrily, "Didn't you say to leave him alive? Who killed him?" Immediately, a few guards said hesitantly, "Altar Master Deng." He suddenly lost his balance and fell. "It's too late for us to stop him." "Yeah, his fall is really strange. I think he took the initiative to ask for death. He must have committed suicide because of guilt." Altar Master Deng frowned. Previously, Manager Bai was still putting up a stubborn resistance. Why did he suddenly want to die? However, no matter what, he had to search first. Altar Master Deng used his spiritual sense to probe Manager Bai's storage ring. However, he did not find the jade plate with the spider lilies that Yun Chujio mentioned. Chapter 5491 Spirit Awakening Pill. Altar Master Deng frowned. Could it be a mistake? However, thinking back to Manager Bai's previous reaction, it was obvious that he had a guilty conscience. Could it be that after Cho Jio had discovered it, Manager Bai had hidden the jade medallion or simply destroyed it? The more Altar Master Deng thought about it, the more he felt that it was possible. He carefully checked the other things in his storage ring. In addition to a lot of spirit stones, there were also several bottles of pills. One of the exquisite small porcelain bottles caught Altar Master Deng's attention. Altar Master Deng picked up the small porcelain bottle. After opening the cork, his hands slightly trembled. He closed the cork again and put it back as if nothing had happened, his storage ring. Altar Master Deng's heart thumped non-stop. Inside the small porcelain bottle was a blood-red pill. This red medicinal pill was very famous in the Divine Enlightenment continent. It was called the Spirit Opening Pill. The reason why this Spirit Opening Pill was famous was because of its miraculous effects. In the Divine Enlightenment continent, many cultivators would never be able to cross the threshold of the peak of the 9th layer of the Divine Summoning Realm in their entire lives. They were unable to successfully break through to the Divine Presentation Realm. However, if one consumed the spirit-opening pill, the success rate would miraculously increase. Although the success rate was still not very high, it was enough to drive people crazy. The requirements for the spirit-opening pill were very high for alchemists. Unless one was a master alchemist, there was no way to successfully refine it. This was not considered much. The most important thing was that one of the main ingredients, the Fire Phoenix pistol, was only produced in the location of the Divine Devil Hall. Hence, this spirit-opening pill had always been monopolized by the Divine Devil Hall. Moreover, it was only given away and not sold. No matter how much money one spent, one could not buy it. If the various large factions wanted it, they could only exchange it with some benefits. Hence, the spirit-opening pill could be said to be priceless. According to Manager Bis' status, it was impossible for him to get the spirit-cultivating pill. The only possibility was that he was a spy of the Divine Devil Hall. Many thoughts flashed through Altar Master Deng's mind. He would definitely not hand over the spirit-cultivating pill. However, if he did not hand over the spirit-cultivating pill, how could he prove that Manager Bai was a spy of the Divine Devil Hall? After all, if he executed the manager without a proper reason, it was inevitable that the higher-ups would find trouble with him. He suddenly thought of Yun Chujio, who was poisoned in the room, and quickly ran into the room. He saw that Yun Chujio's clothes were covered in blood. It was obvious that she had vomited blood again. He did not know if she could still be saved. Yun Chujio opened her eyes with great difficulty. When she saw Altar Master Deng, her eyes lit up. Altar Master Deng, it's great that you are all right. Altar Master Deng did not expect Yun Chujio to be like this. The first thing she said was this. He was more or less touched. Chojio really had a pure heart for him. Altar Master Deng sighed with emotion. He threw all the pills in Manager Bi's storage ring onto the ground. I don't know anything about pills. I can only tell that these bottles are fasting pills, hemostatic pills, and spirit-gathering pills. I don't know what the rest are. Can you tell which one is the antidote? Why don't I call the Sky Ascending Doc's doctor over to take a look? Yun Chujio shook her head with great difficulty. It's too late. The antidote must be in here. They'll just swallow them all. Altar Master Deng did not have time to stop her. Yun Chujio swallowed the dozen or so pills on the ground and then spat out a mouthful of blood. Altar Master Deng gasped. It seemed that Chojio would not survive. Unexpectedly, Yun Chujio's pale face gradually turned better and she stopped vomiting blood. Could it be that the poison had been cured by accident? Chapter 5492 Transparent. After a while, Yun Chujio said in surprise, Altar Master, I seem to be cured. Altar Master Deng was also quite happy. After all, Chojio was related to his future. After a few perfunctory words of comfort, he could not wait to ask, did you record the evidence of Manager Bis' defection to the Divine Devil Hall? Yun Chujio nodded and then took out a recording stone. From it came the conversation between Yun Chujio and Manager Bai. After Altar Master Deng heard it, his face turned extremely gloomy. It was mainly because Manager Bai said that his Altar Master was bought. Yun Chujio said weakly from the side, Altar Master, that Manager Bai is blatantly slandering you. His death is not worthy of pity. However, if the rest of the words were to be spread out, it would be inevitable that some villains would spout nonsense. Please make a copy of this recording stone. There is no need to record the rest of the words. Altar Master Deng's eyes immediately lit up. He felt that Yun Chujio's suggestion was exactly what he wanted. Yun Chujio said again, Altar Master, I think this Manager Bai has big plans. Since he wants to replace him, it means that he wants to control the Soaring Heavens Dock. If he controls the Soaring Heavens Dock, it means that the Divine Devil Hall has indirectly controlled the Soaring Heavens Dock. His intentions are to be punished. It's all thanks to your wise and brilliant strategy that you exposed his conspiracy. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. You saved the entire Soaring Heavens Dock and all the candidates who were waiting to be assessed. You are our benefactor. Yun Chujio's words were extremely difficult to say. Moreover, she even coughed a few times during the process. Therefore, to Altar Master Deng, she sounded exceptionally sincere. Moreover, he had gotten inspiration from her words. He planned to exaggerate this matter. The bigger the matter was, the greater his contribution would be. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that the position of City Lord was just around the corner. Even though the authority of the Heaven Ascending Dock Lord was not small, this was after all a place where birds did not shit. How could it compare to the glory of a City Lord? However, the Spirit Ascension pill had been kept by him in secret. Other than the sound recording stone, there was no physical evidence. It was a little lacking. Thinking of this, he said, I did not find the jade token in his storage ring. It is not easy to do without physical evidence. Yun Chujio had already sat up weakly. She thought for a moment and said, Altar Master, Manager Bai is afraid that the matter will be exposed. It is normal for him to directly destroy the physical evidence. Moreover, sometimes who can say whether there is any evidence or not? In any case, there's no way to prove it, right? Altar Master Deng's heart skipped a beat. After all, he had the recording stone in his hands. As for how the higher-ups would negotiate with the Divine Devil Hall, that was beyond his control. When the time came, the higher-ups would naturally find evidence. When it came to ascending Heaven Dock, the higher-ups would definitely not let the matter rest. Altar Master Deng nodded his head in praise. You little girl, you're really thorough. You've made a great contribution this time. What reward do you want? Yun Chujio hesitated for a moment and then looked at Altar Master Deng with a troubled look. She seemed to be a little embarrassed to say it. Just say it. I won't blame you. Altar Master Deng was in a good mood, so he was quite patient. Altar Master, as you can see, I'm a good for nothing. Let alone 9 months, I might not even be able to pass the exam in 9 years. What do you think? Yun Chujio said with some embarrassment. Altar Master Deng immediately understood that she wanted to use the back door to pass the test. He said with some embarrassment, I'm afraid that you won't be able to pass the test. You might not know this, but every time during the test, the higher-ups will send someone to supervise the test. At most, I can only reveal some information to you in advance. I can't help you with the rest. Chapter 5493. The battle for team leader. Yun Chujio had already learned some information from Ding Er, so she was not surprised by Altar Master Deng's answer. She showed a grateful expression. Altar Master, I'm very satisfied to be able to know some news in advance. As for whether I can pass or not, it's up to fate. Altar Master Deng felt a little apologetic when he saw Yun Chujio being so tactful. He said, Although I can't help you with the assessment, if you have any other difficulties, you can come to me. I will definitely help you. Yun Chujio was very grateful and praised Altar Master Deng. Altar Master Deng was quite satisfied. At this time, the other managers rushed over when they received the news. Altar Master Deng had no time to talk to Yun Chujio anymore. After hearing Altar Master Deng's story, Manager Cheng and the others were all shocked. They did not expect Manager Bai to collude with the Divine Devil Hall. It was really unexpected. Yun Chujio was sent back to the dormitory by 2 guards. At this time, the other members of Group 9 had already returned to the dormitory. Although they could not leave the courtyard at will, they still heard the sounds of fighting coming from Manager Bis' courtyard and Manager Bis' last scream. Seeing Yun Chujio being sent back with blood all over her body, everyone was even more horrified. However, seeing that the 2 guards' attitude towards Yun Chujio was quite friendly, they couldn't figure out what was going on for a moment. Chojio, are you alright? Are you being tortured? Quick, this is a hemostatic pill. Shen Wu asked worriedly and took out a pill. Yun Chujio did not stand on ceremony. She took it and swallowed it before feeding it to Goei Batsao. She said weakly, I'm fine. You'll know what's going on soon. I'm too tired. I'll rest for a while. Shen Wu saw that she was extremely weak and did not dare to ask further. However, he did not expect Yun Chujio to continue. My body is not good. If I lie on the ground, I'll catch a cold easily. Carry me to the bed. The moment Yun Chujio said that, the atmosphere in the room suddenly froze. This was not a simple matter of sleeping on the bed. Whoever slept on that bed would be the leader of the 9 groups, the leader of the 9 groups. Anyone in the room was more qualified to be the leader than Ugly Jio. After all, she was a scum of the 6th layer of Spirit Extinguisher. Shen Wu and Wei Ba did not know what to do, so they looked at Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio did not seem to notice the strange atmosphere in the room and raised her voice, What are you waiting for? Quickly carry me up. Shen Wu and Wei Ba had not reacted when a person called Yu Qi sneered, Chojio, why don't you consider your status? Are you worthy to sleep on that bed? Yun Chujio helped Shen Wu sit up and glanced at Yu Qi, I don't deserve it? Then who do you think is worthy? Yu Qi? Yu Qi, of course, felt that she was the only one who was worthy. However, if she said it out loud, she would become the target of public criticism. Thus, she snorted, Whether I'm worthy or not, you're not worthy. Yun Chujio was not angry. Her gaze swept over everyone and landed on Ding Er. Sister Ding Er, who do you think should be the team leader? Ding Er had been absent-minded ever since he returned. He did not even dare to look Yun Chujio in the eye. Chen Lu wanted to push Chojio into the air vent, but in the end she fell in. Was she really careless? No. It must have been Chojio. It was too scary. Chapter 5494 Military Order. When Ding saw that the guards had taken Yun Chujio away, she heaved a sigh of relief. She felt that Yun Chujio might be punished. However, she found that although there was a lot of blood on Yun Chujio's clothes, it was obviously not a big deal. She immediately became worried again. Manager Yu had harmed Chojio and was dead. Chenlu had harmed Chojio and was also dead. She had indirectly helped Chenlu to harm her. Would she be the next to die? Dingo was worried when he heard Yun Chujio's question. He immediately shivered and said without thinking, You do it. After saying that, she felt the puzzled gazes of the others. Her heart suddenly moved. If she helped Chojio to become the team leader, she would have made up for it and Chojio would not have dealt with her. Thinking of this, Dinger raised his voice and said, Chojio was the one who suggested to cooperate with ice mining. Also, a few days ago during the Beast Tide, if it weren't for her, we would have all become sacrificial victims. Can be said that Chojio is our savior. So, Chojio is the most suitable team leader. Anyway, I think that apart from Chojio, no one else has the qualifications to be the team leader. If anyone is unconvinced, then we'll talk about it after you get past me. Yu Chi and the others were shocked when they heard Ding Er's words. Ding Er was the strongest after Chenlu. If she were to stand on Chojio's side, it would be really difficult. However, letting Chojio become the team leader just like that, they were really unconvinced in their hearts. Just as everyone was hesitating. Yun Chujio smiled lightly and said, I know that you all feel that letting me be the team leader is very unreconciled. How about this? I'll make a military order. I guarantee that I'll lead Team 9 to be in the top 3. If I can't do it, I'll voluntarily give up the position of team leader. How about it? Everyone looked at each other. Should they say that Ugly 9 was too arrogant or stupid? Stay in the top 3? This was simply impossible. Previously, they were able to enter the top 3 because they cooperated with each other to pick ice. Later on, the other teams also implemented it. Their 9 teams no longer had an advantage. After all, they were all women. They definitely could not compete with those men's teams. However, since she had jumped into the pit, they were happy to agree. Anyway, she would not be able to be the team leader soon. Seeing that no one else made a sound, Yun Chujio signaled Shinwu and Wei Ba to help her to the bed. This fellow threw Chen Liu's blanket on the ground, spread out his luggage and crossed his legs to chew on the meat buns. While eating, this fellow said, Sai, this bed is still more comfortable. Once I lie down, my whole body will be comfortable. My waist won't hurt anymore, my back won't hurt anymore, and even the problem of vomiting blood won't be there anymore. When the crowd saw that she deserved a beating, they felt stifled in their hearts. However, since she had already agreed, there was no reason to go back on her words. After all, Chojio still had Ding Yar's support. Yun Chujio admired the interesting expressions of the crowd for a while, and then she began to use her spiritual sense to scold Gowei Batsao. Gowei Batsao had long been prepared. Anyway, it had already eaten the dragon beard ice ginseng. So be it. It had been a long time since it had been scolded, and it was still not used to it. Yun Chujio looked at Gowei Batsao, who looked like a dead pig that was not afraid of boiling water. She was so angry that she gritted her teeth. If it were not for her quick reaction, Altar Master Deng would not have let her off. Thinking of Altar Master Deng, Yun Chujio narrowed her eyes. Although he sounded so nice, he might not really help her at the critical moment. She always remembered one thing, that was not to put her hopes on others. It was safer to rely on herself. Chapter 5495. The next morning, group leader Chojio was carried by Ding to the canteen. She had no choice. She had been poisoned yesterday. She wouldn't recover so quickly. Along the way, this guy received a lot of attention. He didn't care and just looked around. It wasn't like he was going to lose a piece of meat. After breakfast, everyone gathered in the small square. They realized that the person who lectured them this time was Vice Manager Li of the Quenching Fire Workshop. Vice Manager Li's gaze lingered on the weak Yun Chujio for a moment before he said, Manager Bai has been executed by the Dock Lord for colluding with the Divine Devil Hall. Before the new manager arrives, I will take charge of the matters of the Quenching Fire Workshop. The crowd couldn't care less about the rules and immediately exclaimed, What? Manager Bai is dead? He colluded with the Divine Devil Hall? Ding Er's face immediately turned pale. Manager Bai is dead too? Manager Yu harmed Chojio, he's dead. Chenlu harmed Chojio, he's dead. Manager Bai harmed Chojio, he's also dead. Doesn't this mean that anyone who provoked Chojio will die? Most importantly, even if they died, they would die in vain because in the eyes of others, they deserved to die. From this moment on, Ding Er no longer dared to harbor any ill intentions towards Yun Chujio, because she was certain that anyone who went against Yun Chujio would definitely die a terrible death. Ding Er was extremely glad that he had reminded Yun Chujio about the matter of the air hole. He had also firmly supported her as the team leader last night. If not for that, she probably would not have survived. Deputy Manager Lee snorted coldly. Everyone immediately did not dare to speak anymore and shut their mouths. The change in manager has nothing to do with you candidates. Complete the task properly or you will be severely punished. As Deputy Manager Lee spoke, his gaze fell on Yun Chujio again and asked, Chojio, you are standing at the very front of Team 9. Could it be that Team 9 has chosen you to be the team leader? Yun Chujio nodded. My sisters were very humble and tried to shirk the responsibility. I had no choice but to be the leader. The rest of Group 9 almost vomited blood. Humble? Shirk the responsibility? The last sentence was right. You are indeed shameless, even thicker than the city wall. The corner of Deputy Manager Lee's mouth twitched slightly. Then he said, the Dock Lord has instructed that your body has not fully recovered. Therefore you are exempted from the 3-day mission. Go back and rest. Yun Chujio immediately said gratefully, thank you for your understanding, Dock Master and Vice Manager Lee. However, as the team leader I should take the lead. Even if I can't pick ice, I have to accompany them to the ice surface. Whether it was Vice Manager Lee or the others who heard Yun Chujio's words, they only had one thought in their hearts. This Chojio was an idiot, right? How could she not see such a good opportunity? And she was asking for trouble? But the people in Group 9 knew the inside story. Chojio was afraid that they would not be able to enter the top 3, right? But even if she followed them, it would be useless. Deputy Manager Lee gave a few perfunctory compliments, and then indicated that everyone could go to pick ice. Dingo was very conscious of carrying Hei Shinjio. Even if Hei Shinjio pretended to say no, Ding-er would not let her go. Yun Chujio was well aware of her thoughts, so she did not expose them and was happy to enjoy her leisure. On the other side, after Altar Master Deng received Deputy Manager Lee's report, he was even more satisfied with Yun Chujio. At first, he was worried that the little girl would be proud of her achievements, but he did not expect her to have such a sense of propriety. She was really a promising talent. Unfortunately, her aptitude was too poor. She was only at the 6th level of Spirit Extinguisher. Even if he wanted to help her, he might not be able to pass the test in the end. Chapter 5496. You can ask her for it. After Yun Chujio and the others arrived at the ice surface, Qin Shi from Group 10 walked up to Yun Chujio with a fake smile and said, Chojio, Chen Lu borrowed 10 pieces of hard ice from our Group 10. Shouldn't your Group 9 return them to us? The people from Group 9 immediately understood that Qin Shi was planning to settle the score later. Previously, Chen Lu was the one who held the fort in Group 9, so Qin Shi did not dare to do anything. Now that their group leader had become the weak Chojio, Qin Shi would naturally come to pick on the soft persimmon. Shen Wu and Wei Ba looked at Yun Chujio worriedly. The others were gloating and wanted to see how Yun Chujio would respond. Only Ding-er looked at Qin Shi with pity. This Qin Shi was really courting death. She actually dared to provoke Chojio, this malignant star. She probably did not even know how she died in the end. Perhaps Ding-er's gaze was too obvious. Qin Shi subconsciously turned her head and happened to see Ding-er's gaze. She frowned. Was this Ding-er an idiot? Why did he look at her with such a strange gaze? At this moment, Yun Chujio said nonchalantly, your request isn't excessive. You should have returned what you borrowed. Qin Shi immediately threw Ding-er's gaze to the side with a smug look on her face. This Chojio really didn't dare to go against her. In the future she could get more benefits from Group 9. The people from Group 9 were furious. Chojio actually agreed to it? A person like her was not worthy to be their group leader. However, she could only be the group leader for the day because it was impossible for them to enter the top 3. Qin Shi said proudly, since you've agreed, he'll come over to retrieve the 10 pieces of hard ice when you mine them later. Yun Chujio laughed lightly. Qin Shi, you've misunderstood my meaning. Since Qin Lu was the one who borrowed the hard ice from you, then you should go and ask her for it. Here, it's the ventilation hole in front. You can jump in and find her. Qin Shi, Ding-er laughed heartily and echoed, that's right. Go and ask Qin Lu for it. She'll definitely give you interest. After saying that, she looked at Yun Chujio with a fawning look. Seeing Yun Chujio smirk at her, Ding-er immediately felt that his life was a little safer. The rest of Group 9 also echoed. Although they wanted to bring Yun Chujio down, they still had to face the outside world together at this time. Qin Shi was very angry and said angrily, good, very good. Chojio, let's wait and see. Wait and see? Even if we wait and see, our team leader is not afraid of you. Ding stretched his neck and shouted. Qin Shi glared fiercely at Ding and then left with a gloomy expression. Wei Ba frowned. Qin Shi will definitely take revenge. You have to be more careful. Yun Chujiu raised her eyebrows. I'm actually afraid that she won't take revenge. Alright, from now on all of you will address me as team leader. Whoever calls me Chojiu again, Chimp. Wei Bong. Yes, team leader. The rest of Team 9 curled their lips. They didn't expect Chojiu to be so arrogant. Unfortunately, the team leader would be replaced tonight. Just as everyone was about to scatter and find a suitable place to pick ice, Yun Chujiu said, wait a moment. You will change from 3 to 2 and stand in the position I told you. Everyone did not understand, but now that Yun Chujiu was the group leader, they could only listen to her arrangements. After everyone stood in the position that Yun Chujiu specified, Yun Chujiu nodded with satisfaction. Let's start now. Yu Qi grumbled unhappily, isn't 3 people in a group good? Why do we have to change to 2 people in a group? And why are we so close to each other? We really have nothing to do. Chapter 5497 was shocked. Yun Chujiu did not have any displeased expression when she heard Yu Qi's words. Instead, it was Ding who shouted angrily, do what the leader tells you to do. Why are you talking so much nonsense? Yu Qi was so angry that her face turned red. However, she did not dare to face Ding alone. She could only grit her teeth and start to pick the ice. Everyone realized that they had gathered together according to Yun Chujiu's strange position. Other things aside, it was much warmer. Could it be that her goal was this? Qin Shi saw that Group 9 had gathered randomly and even changed to a 2-person team. She snorted coldly. She didn't know how that idiot Chojiu became Group 9's team leader. It was simply a blind command. However, this was also good. With her mischief, Group 9 would definitely not be able to complete the mission. They could only wait to be punished. Group 8 on the other side of Group 9 also saw the situation of Group 9. They all had contemptuous looks on their faces. Group 9 had such a team leader. It seemed that they were useless. When the people of Group 9 saw the gazes of those people while they were working, they felt miserable in their hearts. They wished that they could strangle Yun Chujiu, who was sitting on the soft couch and eating melon seeds, to death. The guards on the shore also saw He Xinjiu, who was leisurely. However, they knew that Yun Chujiu did not have any ice-picking mission these 3 days, so they turned a blind eye to it. Yu Qi tried to hold it in, but she still could not hold it in. She said in a bad mood, hey, why do you want us to stick to the position you said to pick ice? Are you deliberately messing with us? Yun Chujiu said slowly, rude child, remember to call me leader in the future. Otherwise, when I become ruthless, even I will be afraid of myself. Yu Qi pursed her lips. She was just a piece of trash and she was still threatening her. Forget it, I don't want to waste my breath on her. I will deal with her after she loses her power at night. Soon 2 hours passed. One after another, teams finished mining a piece of solid ice. Then they went to the position that Yun Chujiu had drawn and continued to pick the ice. When Yu Qi's team finished mining, they were surprised to find that there were 4 pieces of solid ice around their team that had already been cut off, except that the bottom was not separated from the ice surface. Everyone was stunned. What was going on? If they used tools to separate the bottom of these 4 pieces of solid ice, wouldn't there be 4 more pieces of solid ice? Oh my god. Could this be the reason why Chojiu asked them to line up like this? Had she calculated this long ago? The position they were at happened to form the edge of the 4 pieces of ice, so they had unwittingly mined 4 more pieces of ice. Even if it took some time to mine the bottom side, there would still be 3 more pieces of ice. Although the speed of changing from 3 to 2 people slowed down a little, it was still much faster than usual. Just when Yu Qi and the others were shocked, Yun Chujiu said slowly, how is it? Although my leader's cultivation is a little useless, but his brain is enough. Don't make a fuss. Hurry up and work. Tomorrow morning's meat buns are waving at you guys. Yu Qi's expression was very interesting. She gritted her teeth and did not say anything. No matter what, this ugly Joe's brain was really good. This way her group of 9 could definitely rank in the top 3. Yun Chujiu calculated in her heart. If the other groups discovered this method, not only would they not be able to keep the top 3, the higher-ups might even increase the amount of missions. Hence, she had to think of a way. This guy blinked his eyes and said a few words to the people in Group 9. Everyone looked at each other. They were all impressed by this new leader's brain. There was still more than 2 hours before the usual end of work. Group 9 had already completed the task with ease. Chapter 5498. Hey Shinjio, although the members of Group 9 had completed the mission, they did not stop. Instead, they continued to mine the hard ice. Even the extremely weak Yun Chujio joined the team to mine the hard ice. It was not until Yun Chujio estimated that it was almost time that she said, "All right, let's stop." Everyone immediately rushed to the shore. Hey Shinjio did not care about her weakness anymore. She rolled and crawled to the shore with the help of Ding and Shinwu. The guards who inspected the everlasting ice were very surprised when they saw that Group 9 had completed the mission first. However, on second thought, Chojio had joined the ice mining team. In this way, Group 9 had one more person than the other groups, so it was normal for them to be slightly ahead to complete the mission. Therefore, they dispelled the doubts in their hearts. The other groups had the same thoughts as these guards. If their group had one more person, they could also get first place, so no one doubted it. After returning to the dormitory, Yun Chujio sat on the bed and smiled with satisfaction. She knocked on the copper basin in her hand and said, "The first meeting of the 9 teams will be held now. I will call the roll first." Everyone was speechless. This guy was a fan of many officials. If he had something to say, he could just say it. Call the roll? Call my ass. However, thinking of this guy's plan today, everyone could only reluctantly cooperate with Hei Shinjio. Ding Er here? Shinwu here? Even when Yu Chi's name was called, she gritted her teeth and agreed. After Yun Chujio called out the names, she nodded in satisfaction. Everyone's performance today is pretty good, our leader is very satisfied. Today we have a total of 13 pieces of assets. If this goes on, even if there is a stir in the future, we are not afraid. Not to mention the top 3, the first place will always belong to our 9 groups. This way, not only will we have enough food, but we will also have more time to cultivate. As long as you follow the arrangements of this ancestor, passing the assessment is just around the corner. Are you all confident? One had to say Hei Xinjia's words were very provocative. Even Yu Chi, who disliked her the most, felt that it was not bad to let her be the group leader. Well, at least for the time being, it was not bad. After Yun Chujio held the summary meeting, she sat on the bed and looked at her team members happily. Even though she had been a female emperor before, she did not seem to have as much of a sense of accomplishment as she did now. These people had been bossy and looked down on her 2 days ago, but now they had become obedient little sheep. Therefore brains were a good thing. While Yun Chujio was lamenting, Dinger brought her some water for washing up and even heated it up with his spiritual power. Yun Chujio nodded in satisfaction. Although this Dinger was not very smart, he knew how to adapt to the situation. As long as such a person clung to the right thigh, he would be able to do well. The next morning, the people of Group 9 ate the meat buns as they wished. It was simply wonderful. Qin Shi and the others who were close to them were so angry that they gritted their teeth. They were furious in their hearts. No matter what, they had to be faster than Group 9 today. Unfortunately, for the next 2 days, Group 9 was first place. All of them felt elated and straightened their backs, like a group of proud little roosters. Cough cough, little hens. The other groups had looks of envy, jealousy, and hatred on their faces. However, on second thought, Group 9 had gotten first place 3 days in a row because Ugly 9 had gotten the advantage of being exempted from the mission. Now that 3 days had passed, the 9 groups would be beaten back to their original state today. Let's see how they can continue to show off. Chapter 54 99 Colored Ice Prawn. His team at the quenching workshop was eagerly waiting for the 9 teams to reveal their true form. However, by the evening of the same day, the 9 teams still managed to win the first place. Other than envy, jealousy, and hatred, the other teams were also a little suspicious. Could it be that the 9 teams had found a good solution? They did not pay attention to the formation. They thought to themselves, could it be that 2 people in a team was better than 3 people in a team? The next day, the other groups also changed to 2 people in a group. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes. In order not to reveal the secret, she asked Ding and the others to split up. They had accumulated a lot of inventory in the past few days. Even if they did not follow the formation, they could still get first place. Therefore, even if the other groups risked their lives to get faster than usual, the first place was still held by the 9th group. In the next few days, the 9th team was sometimes in formation and sometimes scattered. The nearby 8th and 10th teams could not find any clues at all. Yun Chujio had been taking care of herself for the past few days and her body had finally recovered. However, she was lazy most of the time. Although the other members of Group 9 were dissatisfied with her laziness, they could not say anything since the newly appointed team leader had fulfilled his promise. Just when Hei Shinjio was doing well, the new manager of the Quench Fire Workshop was appointed. The new manager's surname was coincidentally Yu. When they gathered, he looked at Yun Chujio as if he was poisoned. Yun Chujio's heart skipped a beat. Could this new guy be related to Manager Yu who was killed by the giant ice wristband? Just as Yun Chujio was thinking about it, Manager Yu said gloomily, "From today onwards, Team 9 doesn't need to pick ice anymore. Your next mission is to catch 7 colored ice prawns. Your daily mission is to catch 10 of them." The moment Manager Yu said that, everyone present looked at Group 9 with gloating eyes. Group 9 was going to be unlucky. Really unlucky. Other than Yun Chujio, Shen Wu and Wei Ba, everyone else in Group 9 had pale faces. It was over. It was really over. Although Yun Chujio and the other two did not know why everyone had such a reaction, they could guess that the 7 colored ice prawns would not be easy to catch. Manager Yu's eyes were full of malice. This Chojio had killed his brother. She was really courting death. He was now the manager of the Quenching Fire workshop. It was easy to kill her. When they were dismissed, a guard who looked unfamiliar handed a shrimp fishing rod and 10 sets of special bait to Team 9. Yun Chujio asked tentatively, "Can you give us more bait?" No one could guarantee that one set of bait could catch a 7-colored ice prawn. No matter what, they should at least provide a few extra sets of bait. The guard sneered, "These bait are all specially made and the price is not cheap. If you want more, then get more. If you don't get out now, be careful of your dog life." Yun Chujio nodded with a disappointed face. She added this guard to the black book in her heart. This guard was very unfamiliar, and it was most likely someone brought by Manager Yu. Yun Chujio put away the fishing rod and bait and asked, "May I know where to catch the 7-colored ice prawns and what method to use to catch them?" The guard looked impatient. "Why are you talking so much nonsense? If you don't know how to fish, then don't fish. Just wait to be punished. Hurry up and get lost." Yun Chujio saw the contempt and viciousness in Manager Yu's eyes. She knew that she couldn't get anything out of him no matter what she asked, so she immediately left the square with Group 9's people. After leaving the small square, she asked Ding Er, "Do you know where to catch the 7-colored ice prawns?" "Oh." Chapter 5500 The Dangers of Catching Prawns. Ding Er said with a sobbing tone. It said that the 7-colored ice prawns are one of the top ingredients in the Divine Enlightenment continent, and their taste is extremely delicious. However, the process of catching them is extremely dangerous, so only some candidates who make mistakes will be sent to catch the 7-colored ice prawns. 9 out of 10 times they will fail. Moreover, most of the people who catch prawns will lose their lives because of this. At this moment, Yu Chi said angrily, "Chojio, you must have implicated us." Manager Yu and Manager Yu of the Thousandwood Workshop looked somewhat similar. They must be his relatives. That was why he would seek revenge and want to kill you. "We are really unlucky to be in the same group as you. We won't be able to live this time. It's all your fault. You evil spirit." Yu Chi's words represented the thoughts of many people in Group 9. Everyone looked at Yun Chujio with dissatisfaction and hatred. It was all her fault. They definitely wouldn't be able to live this time. 10 7-colored ice prawns? They probably wouldn't be able to catch a single one, and they might even lose their lives. Yun Chujio didn't even look at Yu Chi. She asked Ding Er, "Tell me where you're fishing for 7-colored ice prawns and how you're fishing." About 50 miles away from where we usually pick ice is the gathering place of the 7-colored ice prawns. Those 7-colored ice prawns will occasionally go under the air hole to get some air. We will place the fishing rod in the air hole. If we are lucky, there will be 7-colored ice prawns biting the hook. Dinger explained. Yun Chujio heard this and felt that it was not too difficult. Why were these people so worried? Dinger saw through her thoughts and said, "Those 7-colored ice prawns are very cunning. Even if the bait is specially made, they won't bite the hook easily. Moreover, they will occasionally use a method to eat the bait but avoid the hook, so they can only lose the bait for nothing." This was not a big deal. The main reason was that the 7-colored ice prawns were very strong in the water. If one was careless and caught the prawns, they would be dragged into the ventilation hole, and they would definitely die. In addition, although this was the gathering place of the 7-colored ice prawn, there were also other sea beasts. If one was not careful, they would be dragged into the ventilation hole by the sea beasts. 9 out of 10 of the candidates who made mistakes before would be dragged into the ventilation hole, and they would lose their lives. Moreover, 10 in a day? I'm afraid we won't be able to catch even one. This is clearly a punishment for us. Yun Chujio frowned. It was indeed a little troublesome. But no matter what, they had to go to the ice surface to take a look first. As soon as the people from Group 9 reached the ice surface, Shinshir came over and gloated, "Tsuke, I told you people can't be too arrogant. The higher you fly, the harder you fall. This is bad luck, right? Aha, 10 7-colored ice prawns? Don't even talk about completing the mission. It's already good enough if you can keep your lives. Don't blame me for not warning you. If you're dragged into the air vent, you'll definitely die. The rest of Group 10 were also gloating. Group 9 was definitely doomed this time. Although the other groups were not as obvious as Group 10, they were clearly looking forward to the show. Weren't Group 9 showing off? Weren't they capable? Let's see what they will do this time. Yun Chujio looked at Qinshi and 11. She said lightly, "We will know the result at night. You don't have to be so gloating. We are all just fish waiting to be slaughtered. I really don't understand why you are so happy." After saying that, Yun Chujio did not care about Qinshi's reaction. She brought the people from Group 9 to the place where they were fishing for the 7-colored ice prawns. Chapter 55:01 Shrimp fishing. The people in Group 9 all drooped their heads. Some of them, like Yu Chi and the like, still carried a bit of resentment and would occasionally glare at Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio frowned slightly but did not say anything. As the journey went deeper, the weather became colder and colder. Everyone could only circulate their spirit energy to resist the cold. Thinking about the outcome they were about to face, everyone's heart felt even colder. Finally, everyone arrived at the location where they were fishing for prawns. Yun Chujio discovered that the air holes here were obviously much more densely distributed than other places. It seemed that there were indeed quite a number of 7-colored ice prawns gathered here. Yu Chi and the others did not dare to get too close to those air holes. If they accidentally slipped into them, they would really be in deep trouble. Yun Chujio walked to the vicinity of an air hole and looked inside. The thickness of the ancient ice was very shocking, so the hole was extremely deep and she couldn't see what was happening below. She looked for a while, then walked to the side and said to everyone, "Yu Chi is right. This time, I've implicated you guys so you guys can just watch from the side. I'll fish the shrimp myself. If I'm lucky enough to catch enough 7-colored ice shrimp, that would be the best. If I'm unlucky enough to be dragged into the hole, I'm afraid that I, the main culprit, will die and manager you will not find trouble with you guys. Alright, you guys step back, I'll do it myself." After Yun Chujio finished speaking, she took out the fishing rod, placed the bait on the hook and threw it into the air hole. Then she held one end of the fishing rod, squatted on the ground, and wiped her tears. Xinwu and Wei Ba were the first ones who could not stand it anymore. They walked to Yun Chujio's side and said, "We'll accompany you. If there are any strange movements below, we'll hold you. As long as you let go of the fishing rod, you won't fall down." Yu Chi snorted coldly, "Release the fishing rod? This fishing rod is specially made. If you lose it, there will definitely be a heavy punishment." Xinwu glared at her, "No matter how important the fishing rod is, how can life be important? Do you even have a conscience? If it wasn't for the leader allowing the giant ice wristband to calm down, you would have died a long time ago. Also, why didn't you disassociate yourself from the leader when you were eating meat buns a few days ago? Now that you're in trouble, you're pushing all the blame onto the group leader. Are you still human?" The group leader would rather bear the responsibility on his own than implicate all of you. If all of you had any conscience, you shouldn't have said such derisive words. Yu Chi was blushing from Xinwu's words. The others were also silent. They admitted that what Xinwu said made sense, but it was a matter of life and death. They were truly afraid. Dinger hesitated for a moment and walked behind Yun Chujio. He thought to himself that if she wasn't strong enough, he could grab Chojio. No matter what, he had to save her life first. Moreover, Dinger always felt that Chojio was full of bad ideas. She didn't look like a short-lived ghost. Maybe things would turn around. After a while, people came to Yun Chujio's side one after another. They gritted their teeth in their hearts. At worst, they would be beaten with a cane and treated as a meat bun that was still Chojio. In the end, only Yu Chi was left. She stomped her feet angrily and said, "Ugly Nine, if I lose my life because of you this time, I will not let you off even if I become a ghost." After saying that, she also walked behind Yun Chujio and glared at the crying Hei Shinjio. "Sob sob sob sob, you guys really moved me. Don't worry, when the 7-colored ice shrimp sees how kind you are, it will definitely take the initiative to bite the hook." Chapter 55:02 Goei Batsao catching prawns. When everyone heard Yun Chujio's words, for words floated in their minds at the same time. Nonsense. The 7-colored ice prawns were extremely cunning. Why would they take the initiative to bite the hook? They definitely wouldn't be able to complete the mission today and they would definitely be punished tomorrow. Yu Chi said in a bad mood, "Chojio, don't get your hopes up. If the 7-colored ice prawns were so easy to catch, the ascending dock would have already started fishing on a large scale. After all, the 7-colored ice prawns are much more expensive than some hard ice. Yun Chujio ignored her because this guy was thinking in his heart, should he eat the 7-colored ice prawns sashimi or boil it? Should he steam it? Actually, braising it was not bad. If the other people in Group 9 knew what this guy was thinking, they would probably kick this guy into the air hole. They did not even see the shadow of the 7-colored ice prawns, but this guy already had evil intentions. How big was his heart? An hour, 2 hours, 4 hours. Seeing that it was already afternoon and there wasn't the slightest movement from the fishing rod, everyone's hearts sank to the bottom of the valley. It was over. They were definitely going to return empty-handed today. Since that manager Yu was targeting Chojio and their 9 groups, even if they didn't die tomorrow morning, they would at least lose a layer of skin. Yuchi was both afraid and angry. She said unhappily, Chojio, didn't you say that the 7-colored ice shrimp would take the initiative to bite the hook? You should let it bite and see. Yuchi's words came to an abrupt end because the fishing rod was shaking violently. This meant that there was a prey biting the hook. Everyone's spirits were immediately jolted. Could it be that there was a 7-colored ice shrimp biting the hook? Shen Wu hurriedly hugged Yun Chujia's waist to prevent her from being pulled down by the prey below. Wei Ba saw the situation and hugged Shen Wu's waist while Dinger hugged Wei Bai's waist. The people behind automatically followed behind, and Yuchi was the last one in line. Yun Chujio said proudly, how is it? I told you that there would be 7-colored ice prawns taking the initiative to bite the hook, right? Might be a string. The corners of everyone's eyes twitched. A string? Catching one was already not bad. Yun Chujio said as she reeled in the fishing line. When she pulled the thing below out of the ice, everyone was dumbfounded. Yuchi laughed coldly, Chojio, is this the string of 7-colored ice prawns you mentioned? Yun Chujio looked at the huge bunch of water plants on the hook and used her divine sense to scold the Goei Batsao. You idiot. I told you to catch prawns down there, why did you get me such a bunch of broken grass? Are you looking for a beating? Goei Batsao that was pulling the grass in the water shook its leaves. Ice prawns were indeed precious and water plants were even more expensive. Besides, these were not ordinary water plants. They were all fragrant snacks. After getting used to the herbs on land, it was not bad to change the taste occasionally. Yun Chujio felt the emotions conveyed by Goei Batsao and said angrily, hurry up and catch the prawns for me. I'll give you time to pull the grass tomorrow. When she checked the air holes in the morning, she put Goei Batsao in and let it catch the prawns in the water. After catching the prawns, it hung on the hook. However, to avoid suspicion, she did not let the Goei Batsao catch prawns immediately. Instead, she let it play for a while. Goei Batsao was naturally very desirable. It was so beautiful down there. However, the Goei Batsao soon found the aquatic plants that it liked. Unfortunately, it was not in its original form and could not eat them, so it had to collect a lot of them. When Yun Chujio spoke, Goei Batsao hung on the hook. Goei Batsao listened to Yun Chujio's words and shook its leaves guiltily. Then it went to catch shrimp. Chapter 5503. Why don't you eat it? Goei Batsao didn't catch prawns in the morning, but it wasn't idle either. It observed the habits of the 7-colored ice prawns and found that these 7-colored ice prawns liked to hide in a kind of seaweed. Therefore, Goei Batsao hid in that kind of seaweed. When the 7-colored ice prawns came over, this guy suddenly strangled the 7-colored ice prawns' necks with its leaves and directly strangled them to death. These 7-colored ice prawn didn't have any offensive abilities. The reason why they could reproduce was because of the geographical advantage. The underwater temperature was extremely low, and the terrain was quite complicated. Ordinary sea beasts wouldn't survive here. Even if there were some natural enemies, the 7-colored ice prawn could use the complicated terrain below to escape. Unfortunately, these 2 points weren't difficult for Goei Batsao. Therefore, Goei Batsao caught these 7-colored ice prawn with a piece of cake. Goei Batsao did the same thing and killed 10 7-colored ice prawns in a flash. This guy thought for a while, and it made that stupid girl angry again today, so it caught 2 more 7-colored ice prawns. According to Yun Chujia's instructions, the 12 7-colored ice prawns were cut into a string with water plants, and a lot of water plants were wrapped around them to fool people. Then they were hung on the hook. The people on the ice realized that the fishing rod was shaking again. Although they felt that it was unlikely, they still hoped to catch the 7-colored ice prawns. Even if they only caught one today, it was still much better than returning empty-handed. The punishment might be lighter. However, they soon let out a scream. That was because they were stunned to see a string of 7-colored ice prawns hanging on the hook. That's right, it was a string. Those 7-colored ice prawns were entangled by aquatic plants. They looked like they were already dead, but they should have just died not long ago. It was extremely fresh. Yun Chujio looked at the 3-foot-long 7-colored ice prawns, and 108 ways to make them appeared in her mind. This guy swallowed his saliva and looked around. Due to the bad weather here, the guards of Ascending Heaven Dock did not follow them to guard. Anyway, they were sure that Yun Chujio and the others had nowhere to go. This guy suddenly had an idea and his eyes lit up. Everyone came back to their senses and exclaimed, "Oh my God! There's really a bunch of them. 1, 2, 3, 11, 12, haha, there are 12 of them. We don't have to be punished." How did these 7-colored ice prawns get hooked? They seem to have died before they got hooked. Didn't you see that they were all entangled by aquatic plants? I guess they were caught by the aquatic plants when they were chasing after them. Coincidentally, they got hooked by the hook of the fishing rod. It's possible. I have to say, our luck is too good. Yun Chujio dragged the 7-colored ice prawns to the side and asked the crowd to remove the seaweed from the 7-colored ice prawns. Everyone looked at the 12 7-colored ice prawns on the ice, and their emotions were rather complicated. Yun Chujio kept 10 of the 7-colored ice prawns into her storage ring, but she left the 2 largest ones outside. Everyone was puzzled and looked at her. Yun Chujio curled the corners of her lips. "Everyone, we worked so hard to catch these 7-colored ice prawns. Don't you want to taste the taste of these 7-colored ice prawns?" Everyone couldn't believe their ears. What? Could it be that she wanted to eat these 2 7-colored ice prawns? If this was discovered by others, they would definitely be punished. Yu Chi cried out in shock, "Are you crazy? If we're seen by others, we're dead meat." The others also shook their heads. There was really no need to take the risk for the sake of eating. Chapter 5504 Eating Prawns. Yun Chujio sighed. "Do you think I'm greedy? Am I that kind of person?" Everyone nodded and thought, "Yes, you are." Hei Shinjio pretended not to see them nod and continued, "If we hand in these 2 prawns, tomorrow's mission will be 12. Everyone was stunned. Thinking of the enmity between Manager Yu and her, the possibility was very high. Wei Ba thought for a moment and said, "Team leader, then you can keep these 2 7-colored ice prawns. If we can't catch enough tomorrow, we can use them to make up the numbers." Hearing this, everyone expressed their agreement and felt that this idea was not bad. Yun Chujio shook her head. "This 7-colored ice prawns is different from hard ice. Even if it is placed in the storage ring, people with a good heart can detect the time of its death. When the time comes, it is inevitable that they will make use of this point, so it is safer to eat it." Ding swallowed his saliva and said, "I think what the team leader said makes sense. There are no guards here, so there's no need to be afraid of being seen. Moreover, if we all eat it, we'll be in the same boat. We're not afraid of anyone reporting us, so it's better to listen to the team leader and eat it." The others were also somewhat tempted. Although they could barely eat their fill because they had been the best recently, they still coveted it. Moreover, these 7-colored ice prawns were top-grade ingredients. Not only were they delicious, but they were also full of spiritual energy. Seeing that everyone was silent, Yun Chujio knew that they had tacitly agreed. Therefore, she took out a big metal pot, chopped the 2 7-colored ice prawns into pieces and threw them in. She asked everyone to take turns using fire spiritual energy to cook the prawns. Not long after, the fresh fragrance spread. Everyone could not help but swallow their saliva. If not for the fact that they still had some rationality left, they would have pounced on the prawns and taken a few bites immediately. Yun Chujio estimated that it was almost done cooking, so she asked everyone to take out their bowls and chopsticks to split the shrimp. Finally, there was still a piece left in the pot. Under everyone's persuasion, Yun Chujio reluctantly ate it. Yun Chujio saw that there was a lot of shrimp soup in the pot, so she took out noodles from her storage ring and threw them in. After a moment, everyone split another big bowl of noodles. Everyone felt that they were too fucking happy. They had never eaten such a delicious meal and enjoyed it so much. On one hand, the taste of the 7-colored ice prawn was extremely delicious. On the other hand, they had been living an inhuman life recently. Naturally, they felt that the prawn meat and noodles were the most delicious. At this time, the sun was about to set. Yun Chujio put away the big iron pot and cleaned up the traces on the ice surface. Some of the prawn heads, shells, and the like were all thrown into the air holes to avoid any future trouble. Seeing that there was nothing to be missed, Yun Chujio said, "Let's go back to the city." After walking for a while, Yun Chujio looked at the people with red faces. "You can't go back like this. Make it look pitiful. It's better if you are dead or alive." The people understood and quickly pretended to be tired. The guards who had checked the hard ice had already left. No one was waiting to check the 7-colored ice shrimp. Therefore Yun Chujio led Group 9 to the Ascending Heaven dock. Yun Chujio brought people to Manager Yu's courtyard to report to him. However, she was told that Manager Yu had gone to Altar Master Deng's place to discuss something and was not in the courtyard. When the arrogant guard saw Yun Chujio and the others in the morning, he was certain that they had not completed their task. He snorted coldly and said, "Manager, you won't be back for a while. You guys should go back first. It won't be too late to hand in the task at the gathering tomorrow morning. Also, you guys came back too late today. You don't have to eat breakfast tomorrow." Chapter 5505. I have proof, Yun Chujio said with difficulty. If we leave now, what if Manager Yu blames us? We'd better wait here. The guard sneered, "You're taking yourself too seriously. Manager Yu doesn't have the time to argue with you. If he asks you to leave, then leave quickly. If you don't, then I won't be polite." Yun Chujio begged again and again, but the guard still insisted on letting them leave. He also asked someone to forcefully expel them from the courtyard. The crowd was naturally furious. Not only did he chase them out, why didn't he let them eat breakfast? He was just a small guard and he could make the decision? He was really going too far. Fortunately, because they had given too much meat buns a few days ago, they hid some. Even if they didn't eat breakfast tomorrow morning, they wouldn't be hungry. Yun Chujio's eyes flashed and a cold smile appeared on the corner of her mouth. When Yun Chujio and the others returned to the dormitory, the other groups came out to watch the show. When they saw that Group 9 was in a sorry state, they could not help but gloat. It seemed that Group 9 definitely did not complete the mission. They would definitely be punished the next morning. Qin Shi's dormitory was next to Yun Chujio's. She clicked her tongue and said, "It seems that you guys did not complete the mission. Otherwise, why are you all like roosters who have lost a battle? Have a good sleep today. If you receive the punishment tomorrow, I'm afraid you won't be able to sleep tomorrow night." Ding wanted to argue, but Yun Chujio winked at her. Ding snorted coldly and followed Yun Chujio into the dormitory. Yu Qi and the others also followed in. This situation in the eyes of the others further confirmed their guess. Team 9 didn't complete the mission. They were going to be unlucky. The next morning, everyone took out their secret stash of dry rations and ate them. Only then did they follow Yun Chujio to Manager Yu's courtyard. Manager Yu's face was as dark as water. After everyone had arrived, he shouted, "Chojio, how dare your Team 9 return to the dormitory without handing in their mission yesterday? What crime should they commit?" Ding and the others immediately panicked. How could they be blamed? It was clearly the guard in his courtyard who did not allow them to wait in the courtyard. Yun Chujio said calmly, "Manager Yu, we arrived at your courtyard last night, but Guardsman Lu said that you went to the dock lord to discuss something and asked us to hand in the mission to you first thing this morning." As soon as Yun Chujio finished speaking, Guardsman Lu sneered, "Nonsense. I'm just a guard, how can I overstep my authority to order you? It was clearly you who didn't complete the mission and were afraid of being punished, so you didn't come to hand in the mission." Ding and the others were so angry that they were dumbfounded. Guardsman Lu was lying through his teeth. He was the one who drove them out of the courtyard. Manager Yu sneered, "Not only did you fail to hand in the mission on time, but you also made irresponsible remarks and slandered others. This is unforgivable. Men punish Chojio on the spot. The rest will be disqualified and sent to the cold wilderness mine." Ding and the others' heads buzzed. Was over. Their lives were over. Manager Yu looked at their desperate looks and revealed a sinister smile. If they wanted to blame someone, they should blame themselves for being in the same team as Chojio. They should just admit their bad luck. Just as he was feeling proud, he heard Yun Chujio say lightly, "Wait. Manager Yu, I have evidence to prove that Guardsman Lu is lying." Guardsman Liu's face was unbridled. Evidence? Who in this courtyard would dare to testify for them? Unless they didn't want to live anymore. Chapter 5506. Who was lying? Manager Yu's mouth was full of a sneer. "Oh? Then you can present the evidence." Yun Chujio said lightly, "Last night our Group 9 was chased out by the guards in this courtyard. They know the whole process." Manager Yu knew who was lying when he asked. Guardsman Lu almost laughed out loud. This ugly Jiu was really stupid. She was even more stupid than a pig. These guards would only testify for her if they were stupid. A hint of contempt flashed in Manager Yu's eyes. He looked at the guards in the courtyard and asked, "Tell me which one of them is lying?" The guards looked at each other. Most of them did not say anything. Naturally, they did not dare to speak up for Yun Chujio. However, they felt that it was hard to lie without conscience, so they might as well not say anything. However, there were also people who wanted to curry favor with Manager Yu. Immediately, four people stood out and said, "Manager Yu, we can prove that Chojio is lying. They didn't come to hand in the mission yesterday and Captain Liu didn't chase them away. They are completely lying." Guardsman Liu's face was even more smug. "Now let's see what this bitch has to say." Manager Yu's face turned even gloomier. "Chojio, at this point, what else do you have to quibble about? Man. Execute him on the spot." At this moment, a voice sounded, "Manager, you won't be back anytime soon. You guys should go back first. It won't be too late to hand in the mission tomorrow morning at the assembly. If we leave now, what if Manager Yu blames us? We'd better wait here. You're taking yourself too seriously. Manager Yu doesn't have the time to argue with you. If he asks you to leave, then leave quickly. If you don't leave, then I won't be polite." Everyone present was stunned. They soon found the source of the voice. Yun Chujio was holding a recording stone. She had a faint smile on her face, but it made people feel cold to the bone. Guardsman Liu's expression changed immediately. He pounced on Yun Chujio, obviously wanting to snatch the recording stone from her. Yun Chujio threw the recording stone into the distance, and Guardsman Liu immediately pounced on it like a dog attracted by a bone. After he took the recording stone, he crushed it into pieces. His face was ferocious. The evidence had been destroyed, so he would rather die than admit it. However, at this moment, his voice came from Yun Chujio's side again. He looked up and saw that Yun Chujio still had a recording stone in her hand. Guardsman Liu was about to snatch it again when Manager Yu reprimanded him coldly, "Enough. You falsely passed my order and framed Chojio in Group 9. The crime cannot be pardoned. Take them away and punish them with 30 strokes of the cane." Yun Chujio sneered in her heart. To them, it was either to punish them on the spot or to send them to the cold wilderness mine, but to Guardsman Liu, it was just 30 strokes of the cane? However, it didn't matter. Sooner or later, they would be sent on their way together. She raised her eyebrows slightly. "Manager Yu, the 4 people who helped to perjure the evidence, what do you think?" Manager Yu said with a gloomy face, "Each person will be given 20 strokes of the cane." The 4 people were so regretful that their intestines turned green. They wanted to hug their thighs, but in the end they couldn't hug their thighs. Instead, they had to be punished by the cane. However, the enforcers were all his own people, so they probably wouldn't beat him too hard. It was just a formality. Guardsman Liu thought the same. Presumably, those enforcers wouldn't dare to beat him too hard. It was just a minor superficial injury. Chapter 5507 was mercilessly beaten just as Guardsman Liu and the others were hoping to get away with it. They heard Yun Chujio say calmly, "Manager Yu, Guardsman Liu falsely passed down your orders. He is extremely audacious. If Altar Master Deng were to know about this, he would probably be extremely furious. Moreover, if he did not punish him severely, there would probably be others who would follow suit in the future. Why don't we punish him in front of everyone so that everyone will learn their lesson and serve as a warning to others?" Manager Yu looked at Yun Chujio fiercely and looked at the recording stone that Yun Chujio was tossing around. He knew that she was threatening him with Altar Master Deng. If this matter reached Altar Master Deng, although that old man did not dare to do anything to him, it was inevitable that he would trip him up. "Men, execute him here. Beat him up," Manager Yu said coldly. Guardsman Liu and the others were so scared that they almost fainted. If they were to be beaten up, they would lose half of their lives even though they wouldn't lose their lives. However, they didn't dare to say anything. After all, if they were to be investigated, it wouldn't be just a small punishment. Immediately, some of the execution guards held their staffs and prepared to execute them. Yun Chujio said faintly, "Don't play favorites. After all, Manager Yu is in a fit of anger. If you play favorites, you might lose your lives." When the 10 executioners heard this, they did not dare to play favorites. Their punishment sticks landed on Guardsman Liu and the others. Instantly, the courtyard was filled with shrill screams. Everyone's scalps went numb when they heard this. Ding and the others were trembling with fear. If it weren't for Chojio being smart and recording in the recording studio, their lives would have been over. Those guards thought that it was fortunate that they did not perjure themselves just now. Otherwise, they would also be punished by the punishment sticks. This Chojio was really strange. Whoever offended her did not seem to have a good ending. It was better not to offend her in the future. Manager Yu's face was so gloomy that water was about to drip down. He stared at Yun Chujio with an extremely sinister gaze. He was determined to teach this bitch a lesson when Team 9 failed to hand in their mission later. After a moment, the punishment was over. Guardsman Liu and the other 3 had already fainted. Manager Yu ordered his men to drag them away, and then said gloomily, "Chojio, did you finish your task yesterday?" The other groups, especially Qin Shi, immediately revealed a gloating expression. Although Group 9's people had escaped a calamity, if their task was not completed, they would probably lose a layer of skin. However, what made them dumbfounded was that Yun Chujio calmly took out 10 7-colored ice prawns from her storage ring. Manager Yu's pupils shrank. It was actually completed? He looked at the 7-colored ice prawns carefully and found that they seemed to have been entangled by something and died. He asked, "Did you fish these 7-colored ice prawns? Why do they seem to have been entangled by something and died?" Yun Chujio said calmly, "Manager Yu, this is also our luck. When these 7-colored ice prawns were caught, they were entangled by water plants. I guess they were accidentally entangled by water plants and suffocated to death." When everyone heard this, they thought to themselves these 9 groups were really lucky. They could even encounter such a good thing. Manager Yu gritted his teeth. He wanted to make trouble, but there was no reasonable reason. He calculated in his heart that good luck yesterday did not mean good luck today. He did not believe that there were 7-colored ice prawns that were entangled by water plants every day. Thinking of this, he said gloomily, "Although you have completed the mission, the quality of these 7-colored ice prawns is not very good. You don't need to eat lunch for half a month." Chapter 5508, Try saying one more sentence. Ding-er and the others were dumbfounded. They were not allowed to have lunch for half a month? There was no dinner in the first place. If they did not eat lunch, were they planning to starve them to death? Yun Chujia's face was also a little pale. She asked, "Manager Yu, if we can complete the mission earlier than the other teams, will we still get the first place treatment?" Manager Yu sneered, "Your missions are not the same, so naturally there is no comparison. So you can refer to the treatment of the last place treatment." Everyone finally understood at this time. This Manager Yu clearly wanted to starve the 9 teams to death. Unless they had stored food in their storage rings, otherwise, this half a month would be difficult to endure. If their bodies became weak, they might fall into the air hole directly. Yun Chujia's face became even paler, and Ding-er and the others' faces were as pale as paper, but they didn't dare to say anything. Manager Yu was very relieved when he saw this. He said a few more words and urged everyone to go to work. After leaving the heavenly dock, Qin Shi came over and gloated, How pitiful. They can only eat 1 steamed bun and a bowl of porridge a day. Some people are going to suffer. However, it's easy to say that I'm hungry. If I can't complete the mission, I'm afraid my life will be over." Just as Qin Shi was speaking, a dagger was placed on her neck. Yun Chujia's cold voice came into her ears, "Try saying one more sentence." Qin Shi was instantly dumbfounded. She never expected Yun Chujio to suddenly make trouble, and she never thought that she would actually let a piece of trash place a dagger on her neck. "Chojio, are you crazy? Aren't you afraid of being punished by the guards?" Qin Shi said with a trembling voice. "Humph. Just as you said, our Group 9 members might die one day. It's not bad to drag you down with us," Yun Chujio said coldly. 2 words immediately flashed through Qin Shi's mind. Crazy. This Chojio must have been too traumatized and went crazy. Otherwise, she wouldn't be able to get better, and she didn't want anyone else to get better. Qin Shi immediately panicked when she thought of this. She quickly said, "Chojio, Sister Chojio, I'm joking with you. Don't be agitated. Let go of me quickly. I promise I won't talk nonsense in the future." Yun Chujio removed the dagger that was pressing on her neck and used the dagger to pat her face. "Get lost." Although Qin Shi hated her to death, she still ran away in a sorry state, afraid that Yun Chujio would really go crazy and kill her. Yun Chujio's cold and fierce gaze swept across the other groups who were watching the show not far away. She sneered and said, "All of you be smart. Our Group 9 is not so easy to bully. If anyone wants to add insult to injury, they will die with us." Those people shivered. They still wanted to pass the test and enter the Divine Enlightenment continent, so there was no need for them to compete with a madman. Therefore they stopped watching the show. Yun Chujio looked at the guards who were supervising them and said indifferently, "Will you go and report to Manager Yu? If you want to report, just go now." Those guards looked at each other and then looked up at the sky. They didn't see or hear anything. What a joke. This Chojio was full of bad ideas. If they went to report it, she might bite them back. They didn't want to repeat the mistakes of Guardsman Liu and the others. Moreover, Qin Shi, who was held by a dagger at her neck, didn't even have the intention to report it. Why did they have to go back? Chapter 5509 Eating some vegetables to relieve the boredom. Yunchujio was very satisfied with the people's ability to adapt to the situation. Previously, she had purposely said that she wanted these guards to be witnesses in order to intimidate them. Now it seemed that the effect was not bad. Ding and the others were already scared silly. Especially Yuchi. Thinking about how she had provoked Yunchujio a few days ago, her neck felt a cold breeze and she did not even dare to look at Yunchujio. Yunchujio did not say anything else and took the lead to go to the ice surface where they were fishing for prawns. Ding and the rest were like obedient little quails, obediently following behind. They did not even dare to breathe loudly. They even forgot about the fact that they did not have lunch. In reality, they did not have lunch yesterday. After all, it was so far away from the freezing point. Those guards would not even send them lunch. When they arrived at the shrimp fishing spot, Yunchujio asked everyone to turn around. Although Ding and the others didn't understand, they didn't dare to disobey her. Yunchujio released the Gowei Batsao. She knew Gowei Bakao's nature too well. The spiritual power released yesterday was only enough to let it show off for a day. Otherwise, she was afraid that Gowei Batsao would cause trouble under the river at night. Therefore, she had to release the Gowei Batsao again every day. After the Gowei Batsao showed its cuteness to Hei Shinjio, it happily hopped into the air vent. Yunchujio's mouth twitched. She threw the fishing rod into the air vent and said lightly, "Okay, you can turn around now." Ding and the others did not know what to say or do. Ding was better off. She had a correct understanding of Yunchujio's black heart, but the others were still unable to digest this fact. They peeked at Yunchujio from time to time. When they saw her indifferent expression, their hearts pounded even more. Yunchujio ignored them and took out a handful of water plants and stuffed them into her mouth. Everyone, Ding hesitated for a moment, then painfully took out a meat bun and handed it to Yunchujio. "Team leader, if you're hungry, eat this." Yunchujio knew that she had misunderstood, so she said lightly, "No need. I'm tired of eating meat. I'll eat some vegetables to relieve my boredom." The corner of Ding eyes twitched, but he was happy to save a meat bun. Yunchujio glanced at the crowd and said, "Leave the shrimp fishing to me. You guys cultivate." Although the crowd was not confident that Yunchujio could complete the shrimp fishing mission, they felt relieved when they saw Yunchujio's calm expression. They immediately began to cultivate. Although the climate here was extremely cold, it was a great thing to have so much time to cultivate. Yunchujio sat on the soft couch and fed the Guai Chao in her dantian while thinking about her next plan. She didn't care about a clown like Manager Yu at all. The only thing she was worried about was how to pass the test. The heavenly lightning didn't come down for a long time. It seemed that she had to find time to let the 3 dogs in her dantian spit out some lightning power to help her break through. Although she could only break through to the 8th level of the Spirit Extinguisher realm at most, it was still a little stronger than now. Soon it was noon. Everyone had not eaten enough in the morning. Training and resisting the cold had consumed a lot of energy, so they had to take out what little food they had left and prepare to take a bite. At this moment, the shrimp fishing rod moved. Like yesterday, everyone hurriedly hugged the waist of the person in front of them one by one to prevent Yunchujio from falling down the ventilation hole. Chapter 55 Stewed meat pancake. When the fishing rod was pulled up, everyone was dumbfounded. What was hooked on the hook was not a 7-colored ice shrimp, but a sea beast. They were not familiar with the sea beast here, and they did not know the name of this sea beast. "What are you waiting for? Hurry up and deal with it. Let's stew the meat." Yunchujio swallowed her saliva and said. Everyone was stunned at first, then they started to get busy. After all, they had even eaten the 7-colored ice prawns, so eating this sea beast was not a burden at all. Yunchujio took out a big iron pot, various seasonings and a bag of flour. Then she sat on the soft couch happily and watched the crowd get busy. Ding Er's cooking skills were not bad. Soon, she put the sea beast meat into the pot and then stuck a circle of large pancakes on the side of the pot. An hour later, everyone gathered around the big metal pot and had a good meal. The satisfaction of having a full stomach made Hei Shinjio glow in their eyes. It seemed that it was not bad to follow her. Although they were on tenterhooks, at least they could eat their fill and have enough time to cultivate. When it was almost evening, Yunchujio first caught a big cluster of aquatic plants, and then caught a cluster of 7-colored ice prawns that were entangled by the aquatic plants. Ding and the others were both surprised and happy. It was another bunch of 7-colored ice prawns? Could it be that God had finally opened his eyes? They were finally starting to get lucky? Yun Chujio let Ding stew the 2 extra 7-colored ice prawns, and everyone had a good meal again. After cleaning up the traces, Yun Chujio brought the hungry people staggering back to the sky-climbing dock. Yun Chujio went straight to Manager Yu's courtyard. Manager Yu saw them in a sorry state and sneered, "Why? Didn't you finish the mission?" Yun Chujio sighed, "The 7-colored ice prawn is too hard to catch." Manager Yu heard her and was even more sure that Yun Chujio didn't finish the mission. He shouted coldly, "Men, Group 9 didn't finish the mission. Each of you will be given 30 strokes of the cane." Yun Chujio laughed coldly in her heart. The group that had not completed the mission before was only given 5 strokes of the cane. Now it had become 30? "Manager Yu, aren't you a little impatient? Who said that we have not completed the mission? Here you point at it. Is it 10? Yun Chujio threw the 10 7-colored ice prawns on the ground. Her face was full of mockery and cold laughter. Manager Yu looked at the 7-colored ice prawns on the ground and his expression changed a few times. In the end he gritted his teeth and said, "Good, very good. Since you guys have completed it so easily, then tomorrow's mission will be increased to 12. Yun Chujio said lightly, "Yes." Manager Yu saw that Yun Chujio's expression was indifferent. It was as if a fist had smashed on cotton. He felt an unspeakable frustration in his heart and waved his hand to let Yun Chujio and the others leave. In the next few days, even though Manager Yu increased the mission of the 7-colored ice prawn to 15, 9 groups still completed the mission. Although they were in a sorry state every time they came back, they did not look like people who had been starving for a few days. Instead, they felt more energetic than the other groups. That morning, when Yun Chujio and the others went to work, Guardsman Lu limped to Manager Yu. "Manager, are you going to let this bitch run wild? Why don't I just kill them with my men? Anyway, they're about 50 miles away from the others when they're fishing for ice prawns. Even if they do it, they won't be seen by others. When the time comes, just say that they fell into a ventilation hole. No one will suspect anything." Guardsman Lu hated Yun Chujio to death. If it weren't for Manager Yu giving him high-quality medicine, he would still be lying on the bed. Chapter 55:11. The fishing rod that flew out by itself. Manager Yu thought of Yun Chujio's increasingly arrogant attitude and nodded. "Do it cleanly. Don't leave any evidence." "Manager, don't worry. Those pigs won't be able to stir up any waves. Wait for my good news," Guardsman Lu said confidently. Manager Yu frowned slightly. "Don't be careless. If there are any complications, I won't let you off. Bring more people over and give them some benefits." "Don't worry, I know what to do. Although those guards are not on the same side as us, wealth and friendship move people's hearts. In addition, they are involved in muddy waters, so they can only be used by us." Manager Yu nodded and gave a few more instructions before letting Guardsman Lu leave. Guardsman Lu went to the bank of the Eternal River and picked 50 guards. He said, "Follow me to the shrimp fishing spot to patrol." Although the guards felt that something was not right, Guardsman Lu was Manager Yu's trusted aide. They did not dare to resist and immediately followed Guardsman Lu to the shrimp fishing spot. Yun Chujio would arrange for 2 people to stand guard a few miles away from them every day. Today it was Shin Wu and Wei Bia's turn to stand guard. When the 2 of them saw a figure coming from afar, they immediately ran back to report. Yun Chujio narrowed her eyes. Was he going to make a move? A moment later, Guardsman Lu arrived with his men in an aggressive manner. On the way, Guardsman Lu had already bribed these guards. Although these guards were somewhat afraid of Yun Chujio, they thought that killing those people from Group 9 would be as easy as flipping their hands. Moreover, if they did not agree, Manager Yu would probably not spare them, so they all agreed. Guardsman Lu glanced at Yun Chujio and the others, then kicked the fishing rod into the air hole. Then he said with a fake smile, "Group 9 has lost the fishing rod. Execute them on the spot." Guardsman Lu gave the order, and those guards immediately surrounded Yun Chujio and the others. Ding and the others were about to explode. This Guardsman Lu was simply too shameless. It was clear that he was trying to frame them. He was really getting more and more guilty. While they were angry, they were more in despair. Guardsman Lu had brought a total of 50 guards. Even if they risked their lives, they would not be a match for these people. Could it be that they were really going to die here today? At this moment, something flew out from the air vent and fell onto the ice. It was the shrimp fishing rod. Guardsman Lu, Ding and the other guards, strange things happened every year and there were a lot of them this year. Why did the shrimp fishing rod fly up on its own? Yun Chujio sneered. Guardsman Liu, the shrimp fishing rod wasn't lost, so can you revoke your order? Besides, you're just a guard. What right do you have to execute us? Don't tell me that you didn't enjoy the last time you overstepped your authority and wanted to be punished again? Guardsman Liu's face was livid. He really didn't understand why the fishing rod would fly out from the air hole. He said sinisterly, I didn't kill all of you. When the time comes, I'll report to Manager Yu. You all committed suicide because you lost the fishing rod. All of you jumped into the air hole to commit suicide. Guardsman Liu finished his sentence and kicked the fishing rod into the air hole again. However, almost in an instant, the fishing rod flew out from the air hole again. Yun Chujio looked up at the sky and said faintly, the heavens are watching. Good will be rewarded for evil. It's not that I don't want to repay you, it's just that the time hasn't come yet. Guardsman Liu, aren't you afraid of being punished for doing too many bad things? Chapter 55:12. Seeking Kong Dekong, seeking monthly pass. Guardsman Liu was already trembling with fear due to the strange scene in front of him. Now that he heard Yun Chujio's words, he felt a chill run down his spine. He gritted his teeth and threw the fear in his heart to the side. He said angrily, nonsense. I want to see what's going on in this air hole. If I find out, none of you will survive. He walked to the air hole and wanted to see what was going on. At this moment, Yun Chujio suddenly pointed to the sky and exclaimed, oh my God! What is that? Everyone subconsciously looked up, but they found nothing in the sky except for the sun and the white clouds. At this moment, Guardsman Liu's scream was heard. When everyone looked over, Guardsman Liu had already fallen into the air hole. They only saw his feet struggling violently. In the blink of an eye, Guardsman Liu had already disappeared into the air hole. They could only hear the sound of life-saving voices coming from under the ice. After that, there was nothing but dead silence. A moment later, Yun Chujio slapped her thigh. Oh my God! Oh my God! Guardsman Liu, how could you be so careless? You actually fell into the air hole. Quick, save him. Everyone, we will just quietly watch you act. Save him? What did he do earlier? Guardsman Liu would definitely be dead by now. If he wasn't frozen to death by the icy water below, he would also be eaten by the 7-colored ice prawns and other sea beasts below. Furthermore, she had deliberately pointed at the sky and shouted. It was clearly intentional. Could it be that Guardsman Liu's death was related to her? Seeing that everyone did not move, Yun Chujio revealed a faint smile. What? You all suspect that I did it on purpose just now? TSK, I was just casually saying it. I didn't ask you to look at the sky. Is it my fault? Moreover, Guardsman Liu has always been thinking about the air hole. Now he's just asking for a hole. The guards stared at each other, not knowing what to do for a moment. Yun Chujio picked up the fishing rod and placed it next to the air vent. She said with a smile, Guardsman Liu accidentally fell into the air vent during his inspection. It has nothing to do with you or us, don't you think so? The guards did not say anything. They were obviously still debating whether they should kill Yun Chujio and the others to report back or follow Yun Chujio's instructions. If you kill us, what do you think will be waiting for you? Guardsman Liu is dead. Will Manager Yu vent his anger on you? Moreover, you know about Manager Yu's secret of killing people. How do you think Manager Yu will treat you? The guards could not help but quiver. How would Manager Yu treat them? He would surely find an opportunity to kill them to silence them, right? Yun Chujio curled the corners of her lips and continued, to take a step back, Manager Yu's conscience made him accept you as his trusted aides. However, you also know that Manager Yu's targeting me is most likely related to the death of Manager Yu from the Thousandwood Workshop. Then it is obvious that Manager Yu will deal with Altar Master Deng sooner or later. When that time comes, when the immortals fight and the kids suffer, you, the trusted aides of Manager Yu, will not have a good ending. Upon hearing this, cold sweat broke out on the foreheads of the guards. In the battles of those in power, the sacrifices were usually made by their subordinates. If Manager Yu and Altar Master Deng fought, they would definitely not have a good ending. At this moment, Yun Chujio sighed and said, in the end, we are all pitiful people who are at the mercy of others. Why do we have to be so aggressive? When you go back, you can say that Guardsman Liu accidentally fell into a ventilation hole. It's normal for him to limp and fall in. As for the rest, there's no need to say anything else. After all, Guardsman Liu is only taking you on a routine inspection, right? Chapter 55:13 was really useless. The guards looked at each other and then at the perfectly fine shrimp fishing rod. One of the older guards cupped his fists at Yun Chujio and then turned around to leave. Seeing this, the others quickly followed. Yun Chujio narrowed her eyes and looked at their backs. In this world, most people were fence-sitters. All she needed to do was to catch some wind. Until the guards disappeared, Ding and the others finally relaxed a little, but they were still worried. Wei Ba asked with a worried expression, "Team leader, will those guards really report to Manager Yu according to what you said when they go back? Won't they tell the truth?" Yun Chujio sat on the soft couch and said with a faint smile, "Don't worry. Even if they die, there's no evidence. Even if they tell the truth, I still have a way to bite back." When everyone saw Yun Chujio's careless manner, they actually felt relieved and continued to cultivate. On the other side, Manager Yu felt that Guardsman Lu was absolutely safe, so he was not too worried. When he heard the sound of messy footsteps coming from outside, he revealed a trace of pride. It seemed that he had succeeded. That bitch was finally dead. "Manager Yu, Captain Lu accidentally fell into a ventilation hole. His life and death are unknown." The teacup in Manager Yu's hand fell to the ground with a clang. He shouted sternly, "What? What did you say?" "In the morning, Captain Lu said that he would take us to the shrimp fishing spot to patrol. On the way he would occasionally go to the ventilation hole to check. We told him to be careful, but he didn't mind. Who would have thought that just as we were about to reach the shrimp fishing spot, he accidentally fell into the ventilation hole. Although we were extremely anxious when we ran near the ventilation hole, Captain Lu had already disappeared," the older guard said. Manager Yu was anxious and angry. Why would that idiot Lu Hua look near the ventilation hole? Could it be that he wanted to check the possibility of Cho Jio and the others being pushed into the ventilation hole? This was great. Cho Jio and the others didn't fall in, but he fell in. What an idiot. He did not suspect that the guards were lying. After all, one person could lie and 50 people could not all lie. Moreover, they did not have the courage to do so. Manager Yu kept silent for a moment with an uncertain expression and said, "Lu Hua only said that he would take you to the shrimp fishing spot to patrol? He did not say anything else?" The older guard replied, "Yes, but before he fell into the hole, he seemed to want to say something to us. He just opened his mouth and somehow fell into the hole." Manager Yu frowned. Could it be that that idiot Lu Hua was too excited to say the plan, so he fell into the hole? What a waste. Manager Yu glanced at the guards and saw that there was nothing unusual. He waved his hand and asked them to leave. After the guards left the courtyard, they looked at each other. Some of them secretly wiped their cold sweat. They had finally passed this hurdle. They silently decided to stay away from Cho Jio in the future. Guardsman Lu had died for no reason. If they offended her, they would definitely not have a good ending. Manager Yu had lost Guardsman Lu, but he had stopped for a few days. Yun Chujio originally wanted to use the 3 foodies in her dantian to break through, but she had no choice but to give up this idea. Because Buttface reminded her, "Little fairy, when you were struck by lightning, it won't take long for you to break through. But if you want to rely on the lightning power from the Black Bead and the others to break through, I'm afraid it will take a few days and nights. Your current situation doesn't allow you to do that." Chapter 55:14. Ding had a breakthrough. Yun Chujio only recalled this matter after hearing what Buttface said. Yes, she had to go shrimp fishing every day, and her breakthrough couldn't be interrupted midway. It seemed that she could only give up on this plan. Yun Chujio praised Buttface a few times, and Buttface's fragile little heart was somewhat comforted. Recently, Go Weiba had been in the limelight. If it didn't do something, it would lose its position as the #1 spirit pet. Yun Chujio didn't know what Buttface was thinking. Right now she was thinking about how to pass the test. Although everyone had 3 chances, she was really uncertain. In the following period of time, out of Yun Chujio's expectations, Manager Yu was very quiet. He even took the initiative to switch their task back to ice picking. Ding and the others felt like they were barking dogs in their hearts. How great it was to fish for prawns. Not only did they have time to cultivate, but they could also eat meat in large mouthfuls. Now, under the eyes of those people, nothing could be done. Yun Chujio could not help but feel a little puzzled. What was this Manager Yu up to? On this day, Yun Chujio was called to Altar Master Deng's study. Once Yun Chujio entered, Altar Master Deng said with a smile, "Little girl, I have good news for you." Yun Chujio's eyes immediately lit up. What good news? During the Beast Tide, Ascending Heaven Dock lost many new examinees. In addition, there are only a few people who have reached the first level of the Divine Enlightenment realm. Therefore, the higher-ups decided that apart from the examinees who have reached the first level of the Divine Enlightenment realm, The examinees who can make it into the top 10 in a separate assessment program can also be considered to have passed the assessment. Yun Chujia's heart skipped a beat. This was indeed good news. However, she immediately understood why Manager Yu had been so quiet recently. He was probably planning to take action during the assessment. After all, it was normal for people to lose their lives during the assessment. Altar Master Deng saw that she did not speak and mistakenly thought that she did not have confidence. He comforted her, although your cultivation level is a little low, your brain is good. You might have accidentally passed the assessment. Yun Chujio, was there such a way to comfort people? She blinked her eyes and asked, Altar Master, may I know what the test is? Altar Master Deng shook his head and said, I don't know about that. The higher-ups did not reveal anything. There are still 3 days before the test. You should go back and prepare well. After Yun Chujio thanked him, she left Altar Master Deng's study. This fellow had nothing to prepare. Unless the heavenly lightning struck her now, it was useless to prepare anything. After all, she didn't know what the assessment would be about. Yun Chujio had just entered the dormitory area when she heard cheers coming from the neighboring 10 groups of dormitories. She vaguely heard the sound of congratulating the team leader for his breakthrough. Qin must have broken through to the first layer of the divine enlightenment realm. Yun Chujio thought sourly, Pui? What's so great about it? If it weren't for the thunderstorm, this fairy would have easily surpassed her. As she thought, she pushed open the door, but was blinded by a blinding light. Then she heard Shinwu and the others gasp. Dinger had also broken through. Hei Xingjiu felt even more sourness in her heart. Was this one or two of them deliberately trying to anger her? Dinger realized that she had successfully broken through to the first layer of the divine revelation realm, and she was going crazy with joy. Breaking through to the first layer of the divine revelation realm meant that she would soon become an official resident of the divine revelation continent, and she would no longer have to suffer in this soaring dock. It could be said that she had reached the sky in one step. Chapter 55-15, Provocation. Dinger enjoyed the envious gazes of the crowd. From this moment on, she was fundamentally different from them, as different as the clouds and the mud. However, Ding Er's sense of superiority disappeared the moment she saw Yun Chujia's deep gaze. Even if she had wings, she had to curl up in this dormitory. Otherwise Chojio might break her wings. Dinger immediately restrained the smug look on his face and said respectfully, Team leader, you're back? Yun Chujio was very satisfied with Ding Er's tactfulness. She said graciously, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and bring me the washing water. Dinger did not even have the intention to resist. He went to fetch the washing water. Shenwu looked at Yun Chujio with admiration. Did you see that? The team leader was really awesome? Dinger had already broken through to the first layer of the divine revelation realm, but he was still obedient. When they gathered the next day, Manager Yu told Yun Chujio what Altar Master Deng had told him before. Then he said, this time it can be said to be an extrajudicial favor. You must not miss this opportunity. Although there are only 10 spots, no one knows who the winner is until the last moment. You must work hard to fight for it. Many people's eyes lit up when they heard Manager Yu's words, especially those who were already in the final assessment. It was as if they had grasped the last straw. After Manager Yu finished speaking, he ordered everyone to go to work. When his gaze swept past Yun Chujia's back, it was exceptionally cold. After leaving the heavenly dock, Qin Shi, who had been acting like a man with his tail between his legs, walked in front of Yun Chujio and said provocatively, Chojio, aren't you capable? If you are capable, you should try to break through to the first layer of the divine enlightenment realm. In the future we are worlds apart. You can continue to stay in the heavenly dock and suffer. Ding curled his lips and said, what are you being arrogant for? Didn't you hear what Manager Yu said just now? As long as the top 10 of the assessment can pass the assessment, our group leader will definitely be first. Yun Chujio said lightly, Dinger, keep a low profile. If I accidentally get second place, where will your face go? Qin Shi, she had seen shameless people before. This was the first time she had seen a group of shameless people. You're really not afraid of the wind blowing your tongue out. First place? If you can get first place, I'm afraid it will rain red in the sky. Qin Shi said with disdain. I don't know whether it will rain red rain in the sky or not. If you keep making noise here, I won't be polite. Yun Chujio took out a dagger and waved it. Qin Shi saw the malicious smile on the corner of Yun Chujio's mouth and immediately felt a little flustered. She left with a harsh sentence and took her away. Ding said fawningly, "Team leader, don't pay attention to that idiot. You will definitely get first place in the assessment. When the time comes she will be angered to death." Wei Ba sighed at the side. How can it be that easy? There are so many candidates in the Ascending Heaven dock, and there are many who are close to breaking through. It will be too difficult for them to break out of the encirclement. Moreover, leader's cultivation is, well, a little low. The prospects are not very optimistic. Most of the others had the same thoughts as Wei Ba. However, they were not as close as Wei Ba and Yun Chujio, so they did not dare to say what they thought in their hearts. They felt that even though Yun Chujio had a stomach full of schemes, she still had to rely on her strength in the assessment. It was as difficult as ascending to the heavens to get into the top 10. Yun Chujio smiled and did not say anything. Whether she could do it or not, they would know when the time came. On this day, the once every 3 months assessment arrived. Chapter 55:16. The miserable Ding Air. All the candidates gathered in the big square of the sky-climbing dock. Everyone had different expressions. The candidates who had already broken through to the first layer of the divine enlightenment were naturally in high spirits. Their faces were full of impatience. Among the remaining people, those with higher cultivation levels were eager to try. They were very confident that they could get into the top 10. Most of them were anxious with a trace of hope mixed in. They hoped that a miracle would occur and they would be able to enter the top 10. A moment later, Altar Master Deng walked over with a few people, followed by the stewards. Yun Chujio scanned the clothes of those people. With a thought, she immediately understood the identity of these people. They were probably representatives of the major forces. Although Ascending Heaven Dock had always been under the jurisdiction of the Union of 10,000 Cities, the other forces still wanted to get involved. Therefore, it was normal for them to send people over during the assessment. Altar Master Deng said some pleasantries and then asked the candidates who had reached the first level of divine enlightenment to step out. Qin Shi and the others immediately suppressed their excitement and walked to the front. The judges glanced at them. Their cultivations were much higher than Qin Shi's and they could see their cultivations at a glance. Seeing that no one had any objections, Altar Master Deng was about to announce the results when an old man with a pointy mouth and monkey cheeks pointed at Ding and said, "This candidate's cultivation base is obviously unstable, so she can't be considered to have passed." Altar Master Deng frowned slightly and said, "Altar Master Deng, although her cultivation base is unstable, she has already broken through to the first level of the divine revelation realm." Before Altar Master Deng could finish his words, Altar Master Deng sneered, "What? As a judge, don't I even have this bit of power?" Altar Master Deng's eyes flashed with a hint of displeasure, but he couldn't insist. After all, whether Ding could pass or not had nothing to do with him. Therefore he crossed out Ding name on the list of candidates who passed. Ding never dreamed that the scene in front of her would happen. She was completely dumbfounded. She didn't even hear the order for her to return to the team until Qin Shi, who was beside her, tugged at her gloatingly. She then returned to the team of candidates in a daze. Yun Chujio's eyes flashed. She didn't miss the eye contact between Manager Yu and Manager Shi. It seemed that Ding had been implicated by her. Altar Master Deng suppressed the unhappiness in his heart and said to Manager Shi, "Manager Shi, announce the rules of the next assessment." Manager Shi glanced at the crowd and said, "Due to the heavy casualties in the Beast Tide last time, the Alliance Master has shown mercy and given you a chance to jump through the Dragon Gate like a carp. If you can get into the top 10 in the next assessment, you will pass. I hope you will do your best and do not disappoint the Alliance Master's expectations." After saying some polite words, Manager Shi got to the point. "The rules of this assessment are not complicated. The Alliance leader has ordered me to bring the illusory sky banner here. Later on, you will be sucked into the first layer of the purgatory of the illusory sky banner. There are a total of 5 stages in the first layer of the purgatory. Only those who pass the stage will be teleported out. The 10 people with the shortest time will win. Don't worry. Once the 10 winners are decided, I will release the rest from the banner." Yun Chujio listened to Manager Shi's words while paying attention to Manager Yu's expression on the other side. When she saw a flash of malice in his eyes, she knew that there was something fishy about the so-called illusory sky banner, and it was targeted at her. Then the question came, should she participate in this assessment? Chapter 55:17. The illusory sky banner. Yun Chujio decided to participate without any hesitation. Without the heavenly lightning, she was not confident that she could break through to the first layer of the divine enlightenment realm in another 6 months, let alone another 6 years. Therefore she had to seize this opportunity. Even if she knew that there was something fishy going on in the illusory sky banner, she could only do it without hesitation. Some of the examinees were confident that they could pass the next test, so they were not prepared to take the risk and gave up the chance to enter the illusory sky banner. Xin Wu and Wei Ba were a little hesitant. Their aptitude was not bad. Even if they could not pass the next test, they should be able to reach the first layer of the divine enlightenment realm the next time. Dinger was also a little hesitant. He did not know whether he should wait for the next test or enter the illusory sky banner to try his luck. Yun Chujio guessed the thoughts of the three of them and said in a low voice, "If I pass the test this time, no one will protect you in the future, so you guys can follow me in?" Xin Wu and Wei Ba also agreed. Besides, it was no big deal to go in and have a look, so they nodded. Dinger thought more than the two of them. She suddenly understood why she was picked on by Manager Shi. It must be because of Chojio. Then, if Chojio really passed the test, wouldn't she be tortured by Manager Yu if she stayed in the Quenching Fire workshop? However, could there be a plan against Chojio in the illusory sky banner? Would she be implicated if she followed in? Dinger felt that her brain was not enough. In the end, she gritted her teeth. After all, she had never suffered a loss when she followed Chojio, so she would fight it out. Thus, she also gritted her teeth and nodded. Yun Chujio looked at her heroic appearance and could not help but find it funny. She chuckled and said, "Don't worry, I have always been lucky. We will get what we want." As soon as Yun Chujio finished her words, she heard the people who had entered the illusory sky banner line up. The people in front of them were sucked into the illusory sky banner one after another. Soon it was Yun Chujio's turn. Manager Shi's gaze paused on Yun Chujio for a moment. He wanted the benefits that Manager Yu promised him. His eyes immediately flashed. The illusory sky banner was completely under his control. As long as he could bring this wretched girl to the second layer of purgatory, she would definitely die. Thinking of this, Manager Shi waved his hands. The hand gestures of the hand seals changed slightly. He was full of satisfaction as he waited for Yun Chujio to be sucked into the second layer of the illusory sky banner. However, after he finished the hand gestures, Chojio was still standing there. He frowned. Could it be that his hand gestures were wrong? He performed it again and saw that Chojio was still standing there calmly. At this moment, the other judges saw that something was wrong and looked at him. Manager Shi was afraid that others would see through him, so he had to use the seal of the first layer of purgatory. However, after a while he still couldn't put Yun Chujio into the illusion sky banner. This time he couldn't help but feel a little awkward. Altar Master Deng didn't know whether it was intentional or not, but he said, "Manager Shi, could it be that there's a problem with the illusion sky banner? Or did you forget how to make the seal?" Manager Shi was both angry and anxious. He was also puzzled. Why couldn't he put it in? Could it be that there was really a problem with the illusion sky banner? He gritted his teeth, bit his finger, and dripped the blood onto the illusion sky banner. He muttered something and made another seal. This time he finally put Hei Xinjiu into the illusion sky banner. Manager Shi heaved a sigh of relief. Everything went smoothly after that. He put the rest of the people into the illusion sky banner. Chapter 55:18 was closed. Manager Shi cursed in his heart. No wonder Manager Yu wanted to kill that Chojio. What a troublemaker. If it weren't for her, he wouldn't have lost a drop of his blood to consecrate this illusion sky banner. In his anger, he sent his spiritual sense into the illusion sky banner, preparing to find Yun Chujio and teleport her to the second level of purgatory. However, his spiritual sense wandered around the first level of purgatory in the illusory sky banner for a while, but he didn't see Yun Chujio. He was puzzled. Could it be that he had accidentally sent that stinky girl to another level? This was also good. It would save him the trouble. Manager Shi was relieved. He withdrew his spiritual sense and opened 5 tests. Then he began to chat and laugh with the other judges. Manager Yu saw his expression and was sure that the matter had been settled. The pent-up anger he had accumulated over the past few days was finally relieved. The next step was that old thing, Altar Master Deng. What Manager Shi didn't know was that after his spiritual sense swept over, a crack was opened on a big iron pot, and Hei Xinjia's little head appeared from inside. She only put away the big iron pot after she felt that no one was spying on her with their spiritual sense. After she was teleported inside, she quickly felt that there was a spiritual sense spying on her. She had an idea and hid inside the big metal pot. She also took off her spirit-concealing ring. She was sure that the spiritual sense was definitely from Manager Sure. As for why he was scanning inside, she didn't need to guess to know that he definitely didn't have good intentions. Her dark eyes rolled around. In order to avoid complications, she had to quickly pass the assessment inside. Otherwise, Manager Sure might cause some trouble again. While Yun Chujio was thinking, she heard a commotion in front of her. Her heart skipped a beat and she quickly ran over. When Yun Chujio ran over, she saw that the other candidates had already walked into a bronze door in front of her. There were 5 big words written on the door: first level of the purgatory. Yun Chujio pouted. Purgatory? He really overestimated himself. The devil was indestructible, so what was the point of refining it? Moreover, this illusory sky banner was not a divine weapon. With such an arrogant name, he was not afraid of losing his life. While this guy was complaining in his heart, he saw Ding waving at him. Shen Wu and Wei Ba were standing beside her. Yun Chujio collected her thoughts and walked over with a smile. She waved her claws and said, "Let's go. I'll bring you guys to challenge the trial." In fact, many people from Group 9 had also participated in the test. However, when they saw what had happened to Ding, they were a little hesitant. They were afraid that they would be implicated if they were with Yun Chujio during the test. Therefore, they hurriedly followed the crowd into the purgatory and avoided Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio was well aware of this. Everyone had their own choices. She did not force them. Besides, there were only 10 spots in total. If they were as sensible as Ding, she would be in a bit of a dilemma. Just as Yun Chujio was thinking, she heard a loud bang. Yun Chujio and the others looked up and saw the bronze door closed. Closed? 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 Ding Er's heart was already miserable because he had been brushed off before, but now he had completely broken down. She wailed loudly. Her thick and sturdy body trembled like a small fallen leaf in the wind. There was a thick sense of hopelessness amidst the comical scene. Was over. She was completely finished. Manager, you hated them so much. She was afraid that she would not be able to pass the next assessment. She would definitely be sent to mine. Shen Wu and Wei Ba also looked dejected. Putting aside whether they could get into the top 10 or not, if they could not enter the purgatory, would they be trapped here and die? Chapter 55:19. Never let go of her. Yun Chujio frowned and shouted at Ding, "Don't cry. What's the use of crying?" Ding felt that he hadn't recovered anyway. He was filled with anger and shouted at Yun Chujio, "Why are you yelling at me? I'm finished. My whole life is over. Even if I'm not sent to mine, I'll still be trapped here. I thought that if I hugged your thigh, I would have nothing to worry about. Who would have thought that not only did I not get any benefits, but now I'm actually implicated by you? Why am I so unlucky?" If I had known earlier, Ding saw Yun Chujio's deep eyes and could not continue speaking. Yun Chujio said indifferently, "If I had known earlier, what would you have done?" Ding took 2 steps back and mumbled, "If I had known earlier, I would have hugged your thigh. I wouldn't have let go of it." Shen Wu, Wei Ban, none of them were willing to submit to Ding. Yun Chujio was also shocked by Ding words. It seemed that Ding was even more shameless than her. Cough cough, he was more sensible than her. Yun Chujio softened her tone. "Don't worry, I'll bring you out. It's just a small illusory sky banner. At worst, I'll just destroy it." Ding and the others did not know if it was an illusion, but they felt that the ground seemed to tremble. Yun Chujio walked to the bronze door and said coldly, "Open it. If you don't open the 3 numbers, I'll split open a door myself." 1, 2, with a creak, the door opened a crack. Yun Chujio curled her lips. She had not been put into the illusion sky banner before, so she knew that the illusion sky banner must have a Qi Ling. As long as there was a Qi Ling, that would be her home ground. Ding and the others were dumbfounded. How could this work? The door was opened just by scaring them? Yun Chujio took the lead and walked in. Shen Wu and Wei Ba followed closely behind. Ding was the last one and then he was stuck. Ding, damn it, I can't live anymore. Even this broken door is bullying me. In the end, Shen Wu and Wei Ba forcefully dragged Ding in. Ding was about to complain when he vaguely heard screams and noises coming from afar. They were probably trying to pass the first test. The 4 of them immediately walked forward. The more they walked, the more frightened they became. The surrounding walls were full of all kinds of torture murals, and the ground was full of bones. From time to time, there were even skeletal hands reaching out from the walls. It was simply terrifying. Shen Wu was almost grabbed by the skeletal hands again. She was so frightened that she cried out repeatedly and hurriedly followed behind Yun Chuzhou. This was because she discovered that she, Wei Ba, and Ding Er were attacked by the skeletal hands from time to time. However, the strange thing was that Chozhou had not been attacked once. Ding Er also noticed this and muttered in his heart, could it be that this skeleton is also afraid of evil people? Yun Chuzhou looked at the skulls that occasionally appeared on the ground and couldn't help but think of Shui Wuji. When that idiot first saw her, he would occasionally use the fake skulls to scare her. Who would have thought that they would become life and death friends in the end? If she guessed correctly, Chi-Chi should be in the Divine Enlightenment continent. At that time, that idiot with the black chicken head would definitely show off Rue'er. Thinking about it, it was really infuriating. It was all the fault of that damn Goei Batsao. If it wasn't for it, perhaps she and the pretty boy's little bean would have been able to join in the fun. Goei Batsao, who was being scolded, it was also convinced. Why did this smelly girl scold it when she saw the skull? Who did it offend? Chapter 55:20. Get lost. Yun Chuzhou and the other three quickly caught up with the people in front of them. It was not because they were walking fast, but because they were so frightened by the horrifying scene in front of them that they did not dare to continue walking forward. Ding Er pursed her lips when she heard those people mumbling something like, it's too scary, and if we go over we will definitely be courting death. Make way, make way, make way. A bunch of cowards. What's there to be afraid of? Let me go over first. She had completely forgotten how scared she was when she saw those skeleton hands. When she saw the situation clearly, she wished she could sew her mouth shut and said embarrassedly, everything comes first, you guys came first, you guys go first. I'm not in a hurry. Everyone. At this time, Yun Chuzhou walked to Ding Er's side and her gaze fell on a place about 100 feet ahead. The two walls on the left and right sides were filled with skeleton hands, and there were countless half-skeletons hanging above them. The hands kept waving and the sound of their teeth making creaking sounds made one's hair stand on end. Occasionally, skeleton hands would appear on the ground. One could imagine the consequences if they were caught by these skeleton hands. There were also a few tragic corpses on the ground. Judging from their clothes, they were obviously candidates for the assessment. Wei Bie said weakly, team leader, let's not go there. Anyway, manager sure will let us out after a long time. It's not worth the risk. Shen Wu and Ding Er did not say anything, but they nodded their heads like chickens pecking at rice. This place was too strange, so it was better not to take the risk. Yun Chuzhou said lightly, just prop up the spiritual energy shield and walk over. It's not a big deal. After she said that, she lifted her leg and walked forward. Ding Er and the other two looked at each other and quickly followed. Not only did the three of them prop up the spiritual energy shield, but they also activated all of their treasures, afraid that something bad would happen to them. The rest of the examinees had looks of contempt on their faces. Did this Chozhou really take them seriously? It was no big deal. She would know how powerful she was in a short while. Yun Chuzhou quickly walked to the place where the skeleton hands were wreaking havoc, and the skeleton hands began to wave wildly. Yun Chuzhou snorted coldly. Get lost. Almost as soon as this guy's words fell, the skeleton hands and half of the skeletons seemed to have been frozen by someone, and they stopped moving. Yun Chuzhou strolled into the room casually. Ding Er and the others quickly followed her. Indeed, it was better to lean against a big tree to enjoy the shade. Even the skeletons did not dare to provoke them if they followed this evil person, Chozhou. The people behind were all dumbfounded. How could this work? Seeing that Yun Chuzhou and the other three had passed the first test leisurely, the remaining people could not stay any longer. Immediately, one of the candidates imitated Yun Chuzhou and shouted at the skeleton hands, "Scram!" After that, there was no after. The word scram became his last words. Ding Er turned around and saw this scene. He was so scared that he trembled. In his heart, he was even more certain that he would not let go of Yun Chuzhou's thigh. He would not let go even if he was beaten to death. Yun Chuzhou did not care about what happened next. She continued to walk forward with Ding Er and the others. Although there were still skeletal hands that stretched out from both sides of the road from time to time, Ding Er and the others followed Yun Chuzhou closely. They did not encounter any trouble. In the end, there were still some candidates who relied on their spiritual weapons to pass the first test and caught up. They looked at Yun Chuzhou and the other three with some vigilance. After all, there were only 10 spots in total. They were all competitors. Chapter 55:21. Deja vu. 15 minutes later, everyone stopped in their tracks. There was no skeleton hand in front of them, but a blood lake appeared. The candidate threw a low-level spiritual pet. The spiritual pet turned into a blood mist the moment it touched the surface of the lake. Everyone gasped in shock. Someone took out another low-level spiritual pet. The spiritual pet fell straight toward the surface of the lake. It was obviously impossible to fly over. Some people didn't give up. They took out a boat, but they could only watch as the boat turned into blood. Everyone's faces were filled with despair. They couldn't cross the blood lake no matter what. At this moment, Yun Chujio lifted her leg and stepped into the blood lake. The moment she stepped in, the lake water split into two, and a tunnel appeared in the middle. Ding Er's mouth was wide open. Oh my God! There was such a godly operation. She exclaimed as she followed behind, muttering, "I'm the team leader's lackey. Don't hurt me by accident. I'm on the team leader's side." Shenwu and Wei Ba also quickly followed. Their hearts were also filled with shock. How could this work? The other candidates also quickly followed. However, the person at the front had just stepped into the tunnel when he let out a shrill scream and turned into a bloody mist. The others were so scared that they immediately shrank back. Even if they didn't pass the test, it was better than losing their lives. After Ding Yi followed Yun Chujio through the blood lake, he was very proud when he saw those people who looked desperate on the other side. Sometimes, choosing was more important than working hard. The next two tests were exactly the same as before. Yun Chujio didn't use any spiritual power and led Ding and the others through. Soon they arrived at the last round. There was a black stone wall in front of them, and a sinister voice could be heard, "Why aren't you kneeling when you see me? Quickly kneel down." Ding and the other two could not help but kneel on the ground when they heard the sinister voice. Yun Chujio narrowed her eyes. Why did this voice sound so familiar? Just as she was thinking about it, the voice sounded again, "How dare you? Why aren't you kneeling?" Ding was so scared that he quickly pulled on Yun Chujio's skirt, signaling her to kneel down. Yun Chujio ignored Ding and said indifferently, "Why do I feel that your voice sounds familiar? Have we met before?" "No, impossible. I've never seen you before. I don't know you either. Stop talking nonsense and kneel down quickly. Otherwise I won't be polite." The voice said in a flustered tone, but it was clearly a little flustered. Yun Chujio narrowed her eyes. Skeleton? Purgatory? This voice? And those little tricks from before? Yun Chujio immediately had an answer in her heart. She sneered and said, "Bone spirit, isn't it good to be alive?" What bone spirit? I don't know what you're talking about. Hurry up and kneel down or I won't hold back. I'll kill you." This time, even Ding and the others could hear the panic in the voice, and there was even a hint of trembling. Yun Chujio curled her lips. This voice was clearly the red skeleton from the inheritance prison. Back in the ghost realm, she had entered the inheritance prison several times to deal with this bone spirit. In the end, it even helped her take in those pure Een girls for a period of time. Yun Chujio said indifferently, "You didn't stay well in the inheritance prison, so why did you come to the illusion sky banner? Are you so bored that your balls hurt? But that's true, you don't have any eggs at all." The voice immediately felt ashamed and angry and scolded loudly, "You stinky girl. You shameless ugly freak. You don't have any eggs. Shameless." You're tuning in to the Han Lee's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.